This is Monty in the Morning, the show Phoenix Magazine readers voted #1 talk radio show in Arizona.
#1 during your morning commute.
#1 whenever news breaks during your day.
And #1 whenever and wherever you want to talk sports.
Now it's time for Monty in the Morning.
Hey, yo, man. How the heck are you?
Hello.
I'm fighting that little bit of a cough, so let's get the Schlitz malt liquor out.
Schlitz. Yes, please indulge.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good morning.
Yeah.
I try again. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Monty Show, presented by the Advocates, UtahAdvocates.com. We are live in the Maverick Center studios of the Monty Show. A pleasure to be with you. Don't forget, when you need an attorney, it's UtahAdvocates.com. Have you been hurt at work? Yes, they handle workman's comp. Hey, by the way, was it a distracted driver? Was it somebody on their phone, eating their food, checking their maps? That's not your fault. Make sure you get representation that will fight for you without any consultation fees, without any huge retainers. No, at the Utah Advocates, you do not pay until they win your case at UtahAdvocates.com. A big show for you, as always. Wait until you hear George Kliavkoff lying to you again. I am a noted non-believer in George Kliavkoff.
Right.
I am not a fan. I have not been a fan for some time. I don't think that's new or even interesting.
Right.
What I think is new and interesting are these comments that George Kliavkoff made. Coming up in about 40 minutes, we'll get to that right here on the Monty Show. Obviously, we have got to talk about Ye or Yee or whatever.
However you say his name.
Kanye West is going by now. He had another major incident yesterday. Tommy and Giselle will lead football at 50, presented by Papa Murphy's Pizza.
Tommy.
But of course, we are going to start with my R and we. The Utah Jazz did it again? You mean this incarnation of the Utah Jazz leads the NBA and wins at 4-1?
What are you talking about, man?
I know it's cray-cray, but the Utah Jazz lead the NBA in wins. They're 4-1. They beat the Rockets last night. And Jake, I guess the biggest question of the morning is, how long can the Utah Jazz keep winning?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I think, the idea of this team winning, more than like 30 or 35 games is kind of crazy if you think about it. Like, we expected this team, I think most people expected this team to really struggle and to be a lottery team, and now you're 4-1. And I think, obviously you're 5 games in here and you've played well. Last night and basically in every game, you've seen stretches of the game where they will turn it over a lot. They will blow 18 to 20-point leads that they've built, and they will allow teams back in. And so if they keep doing that, inevitably they'll pay the price. But I think that, if this team can just win, if this could just be a 500 basketball team, I think everybody would be jumping for joy. I think everybody would be like, wow, if you're a 500 basketball team on an 82-game schedule, that's, somewhere around 40 wins, which for this team, I think would be extraordinary. So how long can they keep it up? I mean, it feels like they can keep this going for a while just because this is kind of how they play. But I don't know. We'll see what they do against the better teams in the league, because I largely feel like you obviously played the Rockets 2 games here and you split with them. You look at the Pelicans matchup was a dogfight. Obviously the Timberwolves matchup, you played well there. So it'll be interesting to see how they play against opponents who are some of the best in the league as they work through the schedule.
But let's be honest, this is not a 65-win team.
No.
I mean, when you're playing 80% basketball, which the Jazz are right now, you're not going to win 65 games. But I think this team is capable now. If they play at this level, this is a 40-win team now. And I think that there's a couple of things at play here. Obviously, they're enjoying themselves quite a bit. I mean, that game last night was fun to watch again. And you look at Lauri Markkanen, you look at the way that Markkanen is playing. I mean, it's hard not to be thrilled with Lauri Markkanen being here. I mean, the guy drops 24 last night, clearly led the line, especially late in the game with that dunk. I mean, you just feel like Lauri Markkanen is this team's now best player. And I think he's that guy that we've been looking for to step forward and represent the Jazz in the All-Star game. Like, it feels like he is your best player, but it also feels like you've seen some lineup combinations out of Will Hardy that you're really excited about. When you have Conley, Sexton, Clarkson, and Markkanen out there together, and if it's Olynyk or Vanderbilt, whoever that fifth guy is, I mean, those four guys together are quite exciting, and it'll be interesting to see what happens with Sexton. He left this game hurt, but I mean, when those four guys were out there for that stretch, this team was at times electric. And, I don't even think I'm using hyperbole or exaggerating when you have Clarkson, Conley, Sexton, and Markkanen out there together. That's a fast, active, very solid defensive group, by the way. Like, you just feel really good about those pairings. And I think you're seeing the value in Malik Beasley being a really solid 3-and-D guy. You like the way that he is contributing to the team. I mean, obviously, the younger guys, you want to see the Walker Kesslers, the Agbajis. You want to see that development. But right now, the experience level on this team is exciting, and it's these new guys and Clarkson and Conley combined that are really pushing this team forward. And Jake, I think that's what is so attractive about this team is it's not a bunch of young guys trying to lose games. It's a bunch of guys that have come together to be a really solid basketball team early.
Yeah, and I think that, you combine that team with Will Hardy, a guy who's a younger head coach, but clearly is doing a pretty good job. And I think that's kind of why you're seeing the early on success that they're having. And I think that, I've really noticed that Will Hardy has a good feel for when to call timeouts. I don't particularly mind his out of timeout plays, what he draws up and kind of what he puts them in. And I think that, again, I'm going to keep beating this drum, but I think, Jordan Clarkson has to figure out how to, reel that shot selection in. When those bad shots come in, like, he's taking accountability for them. But I think that, as we get close to that 10 to 15 game mark, if he can kind of reel that in and eliminate those bad shots that he tends to take as his game has demanded over the last couple of years, we see him being a guy that takes a lot of shots that maybe he shouldn't take. If he can reel that in and keep moving the basketball, they will have a lot of success, because it seems like every time they move the basketball and every time they swing it and get the defense to move left to right or right to left, they get a good look. Now, making it obviously is a different story, but they're getting good looks. And that, to me, is what you have to keep doing from an X's and O's standpoint to continue to score with the best people or the best teams in the league, because that's really what this team has to keep doing. They can play defense. They're athletic enough. It's nice to have a Jazz team that has the athleticism to play defense with the Houston Rockets, but they need to keep generating those high-quality looks for guys, as you mentioned, like Malik Beasley or, your Jared Vanderbilt or even Mike Conley taking some of those shots. So if they can keep generating those, I think you're going to continue to see them being right in these games. I think the only downside right now would just be blowing these big leads that they build. It's definitely been a trend that they're dealing with.
Well, and I think a lot of that is going to be their three-point shooting percentage, because this is not going to be a team that probably shoots 35, 40% nightly. I think they shoot 28% last night. So, I think when you shoot that many threes, and let's be honest, that's what this league's become. Right? I mean, this has become a league that is fast break, shoot threes. I mean, it's very difficult to win in the NBA today playing half-court 1s and 2 basketball. The era of throw it into the post and get fouled has been long dead in this league. So you're going to live and die with that. But I think overall I don't think it's too much to say that the Utah Jazz are the best story in the NBA right now. I mean, it is unbelievable that they are 4-1. The LA Lakers are 0-4.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a 7-game stretch coming up where they are underdogs in their next 7 games.
Yeah.
Including 2 against the Jazz, by the way. I mean, the way that the coin is flipped on the Western Conference is remarkable. And it's going to be interesting to see where this team plays out and how this team plays out and how all of this shakes out, because they are a wildly entertaining team to watch. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And I know we've talked about this a lot here on the Monty Show, but they are a wildly entertaining team to watch. Lauri Markkanen is the prototypical Jazz man, a guy that is a 7-footer that can shoot, that can score, that can bang. He plays he's a try-hard defender. Like, And they absolutely have big man size. Like if you think about the 7-footers on this team, I don't know, is Kelly Olynyk truly 7 feet? Like Olynyk, you look at Markkanen, Walker Kessler absolutely is a 7-footer. Jared Vanderbilt. I mean, you look at the bigs on this team, they're all skilled for the most part. I mean, Vando's still trying to find his way, I think, as an offensive player in this league. But Jared Vanderbilt's absolutely a valuable piece that is only going to get better. I don't know what Walker Kessler's upside is. I think we all like what we've seen from him. But I mean, you have bigs that have size and skill. Yeah. And I think that really is something that you can leverage.
That's right, T.
Yeah, if you're the Jazz, I think that's something you can absolutely leverage. By the way, one other thing I think I need to say.
Yeah.
That court last night was fire.
Yeah, it was nice.
That basketball floor at Vivint.
Yeah, I like what they did there. I like the design. I like, obviously, when it comes to basketball courts, I think I always like courts that have a lot of contrast in them. So, like, you have the black outline with a real nice, I don't know what, if that's like a ash floor, like what kind of wood they used and how they put that together, but it's a really nice look. I think they nailed that.
It's parquet-esque. You know what I mean? With the diagonal lines. And I actually, for the first time last night, thought to myself, this minimalist Utah Jazz note at center court, I actually can get down with it in that scheme.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a huge fan of the current incarnation of the Jazz note by any stretch.
Right.
But I have to tell you, the black uniform is by far their best uniform.
Facts.
That floor was sizzling. That was beautiful last night. I mean, the renovations they've done in the arena have turned out fantastically well. And for the first time, I can say I like the minimalist look of this Ryan Smith redesign. And it's been hard to find that you like, right? I mean, this black and white thing, this new design that the Jazz have rolled out, I haven't been a huge fan of that. And I know it's been quite controversial, obviously, here in Salt Lake City, but I love that court last night.
Yeah, it was nice. I think that, it's definitely a win. And I think that, if that's going to be their home court most times outside of when they wear purple, I'm fine with that. I think it's plenty gets the job done.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely gets the job done. First one in this morning, Eric and Raleigh. How the heck are you? He says, top of the morning, it's time. Okay. Salty Drunk says, morning, lads. Have a great show.
Thanks, mate.
Okay. I guess I will wait for your brand as a Salty Drunk to come back. Jesse Harsh says, it's ridiculous. Is it ridiculous to say that Lauri Markkanen is an all-star caliber player? No, I mean, I think, listen, as a Bulls fan, Lauri Markkanen's been an all-star caliber player for a good part of his career. He's just not consistent.
Yeah.
And so, again, in this question of, how long can you keep this up? One of the questions I have is, how long can Lauri Markkanen be your best player? How long will Lauri Markkanen be your best player?
Yeah, and I'm curious what, how teams, as the season goes on, like how teams adjust, once the scouting departments kind of catch up and see what the Jazz are doing, because their success, the thing with the Jazz success is like it mostly is just hard work. It's mostly just like beating you to a spot or out rebounding you, or like it's not like it's just a scheme and like one guy is carrying them and you can double that guy.
Well, they're also playing with pace. They're pretty consistently getting up and down the floor. The outlet pass has been pretty aggressive for the Jazz. I mean, so I think the way they're playing, one of the things that gives you encouragement is you ran up and down last night with one of the young run and gun teams, and you did not seem to be tired at all.
Yeah.
Like, they look fit. They look able to play at a very high pace. And I think against teams like Denver and Minnesota, you have to do that.
Yeah.
You have to. I wonder how you match up, against the Lakers, for instance, who want to be, I think, a slower, plodding, methodical team. I think you will run by the Lakers.
100%.
I really do. I think the Lakers are...
Well, and I think the Jazz... I'm still not ready to say I expect the Jazz to beat teams. I'm getting there, but I'm not ready to say that. But like, if you just on a surface level say, yeah, a work hard, fast paced team, you should be able to beat the Lakers just on that alone.
What's up, Teddy Wayman? Good to see you. Lopes Van Gabe. Hello. Eric and Raleigh says George Molotov. I cannot wait.
Right.
I cannot wait to get into George Kliavkoff today. The bite that we're going to play from George Kliavkoff from Pac-12 Basketball Media Day yesterday is unbelievable. Kurt Myers, good morning to you. What's up, Kenai Johnson? M. Alvarez, Strange Clouds. He says, go Jazz, BYU sucks.
Hey, you start talking shit.
Okay. All right, Strange Clouds. Good morning. Off to a good start. Kurt Myers says, start building the rings. Have you ordered your 2022-2023 Utah Jazz championship banner yet?
Yeah, I've been immunized.
Let's not get carried away. Uncle Jimmy says, let them play. These guys are so much fun with so many weapons. Who needs a, quote, superstar when you play solid, good basketball? Well, you need a superstar, and you probably need two to win a championship. I don't know that anybody's here to be regular season juggernauts.
Yeah.
And
that's what this organization has been. If we're being honest, like that's what the Utah Jazz have been over the last couple of seasons, and I think that it's like I'm really happy for Donovan Mitchell and what he's doing. He had a hell of a game last night. At the same time, I think if you're the Utah Jazz, you're also in a great spot, and I think that again, that's why we're asking this question: how long can the winning go on? How long can you be successful? Because you're playing good basketball, and that's the thing. Like it does beg the question, okay, if this is what we're going to get the first half of the season leading up to the deadline and in the All-Star game, what then could you do with the deadline to make this team better, to potentially bring in one extra guy that's really talented who could fit into the scheme or whatever? That's what I think is intriguing about this team.
Yeah, I think the question of what direction do you take this team at the trade deadline now becomes fascinating.
Yeah.
With every game you win, and every day that you are a middle of the pack Western Conference team, because I don't think any of us expect this team to win 80% of their games. I just don't think that anybody believes that. But if you're going to win 60% of your games, and if you're going to win 3 for every one you lose, and if you start pushing 45 wins, now the question is, okay, well, if you've got 20-something wins heading for the All-Star break, and really, if you're at 20-something wins at the trade deadline, which is before the All-Star break,
right?
What do? Do you make trades to strengthen your weaknesses? Because then, for certain you're not going to get Victor Wembanyama.
VW.
I don't know. That's going to be a really interesting storyline to play out. And again, I just look at the box from last night. Look at the minutes distribution off the bench. Talon Horton-Tucker had his best game by far in a Jazz uniform.
Y'all feel me?
I think you didn't shoot well last night. They shot 29% from 3. But THT gives you 7 boards, 4 dimes, 2 steals, 14 points. That's a pretty solid performance. You got 14 more from Malik Beasley. Gay, Kessler, Sexton, again, he left injured, so he only saw him for 10 minutes. But if you look at 20 from Clarkson, 13 from Conley, 24 from Markkanen, 6 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 dimes from Vando. Like, you're getting a contribution across the board from all of these guys.
Yeah.
And you're starting to realize, you out-assisted Houston 28-19, right? You out-rebounded Houston. Okay, well, you're bigger than they are. Okay. But then you start looking at the way that this team is winning games, and one of the things that you see so clearly is that you're shooting free throws well. You're getting to the free throw line. Now, they out free throwed you 20, they had 30 free throws. You had 24. But you're shooting free throws very well, so you're taking advantage there. And then I look at the some of the points in the paint, points off turnovers, 20 points off turnovers for the Jazz.
Yeah.
That means you're opportunistic and you're getting out in transition, which is something this team has struggled with. So it's great to see that. I just look at all of these numbers, and I think you're doing great.
Yeah.
You're really doing quite well. And I think, again, when you're out rebounding teams like Houston, when you're out assisting teams like Houston, when you're out stealing teams like Houston, 5-2, you have more blocks than Houston.
Yeah.
You're just doing all of these things well, and that's why you're winning these games. And I think if you're a Utah Jazz fan, you can wake up this morning and you can say, we are outplaying the team on the other end of the floor.
Yeah, I think that's the work ethic Will Hardy has, instilled in this team. And I think that, it's not a hard concept to follow either. And that's why I think everyone's bought in on it, because it's not like you're not saying to the team, hey, it's Markkanen and Conley and everyone else can just do whatever. You're basically saying, hey, if you're on the floor, we expect you to work hard on defense and rebound, and then we expect you to get out in transition. So it just feels like everyone on the team is on the same page and that they're working hard to meet expectation. And I think when that happens, that's when you see the team game come in. And the great thing about basketball, and we don't see it as much in today's game, but when you're playing team basketball, you can beat a lot of good teams just by simply moving the ball. And that, I think, is what Will Hardy's trying to do.
Yep. Utah Jazz Talk on the Monty Show, presented by TryDayTrading.com/Monty. TryDayTrading.com. It is your avenue out of your 9 to 5. Again, here we are at 6:20 in the morning. Are you dreading your day at work? Are you dreading your day at school? Are you dreading your side hustle tonight? That's like the third side hustle you've tried. Are you worried about the economy? Again, last night, day traders, I was reading an article, day traders are out-earning stock, standard day in, day out, long-haul traders, money managers. Day traders are out-earning them significantly in today's stock market economy, and I'm telling you, you can be that guy. Do you want to be a day trader? Do you want to make significant money? Go to TryDayTrading.com/Monty. I saw my close personal really just one of the people that, I admire that we have never met even once in Alema Harrington on TV last night. Because Alema knows the same thing that I know. And that is that TryDayTrading.com is absolutely your avenue to freedom.
Alema Harrington here. I've been in the broadcast business going on 30 years now. And after that amount of time, you start to be able to pick some winners. I want to share a winner that I'm aware of with you, and that is my guys at Tri-Day Trading. They're going to teach you how to trade, and then they're going to let you trade using their money and then split the profits with you. That's a pretty winning deal. If you want to register for a free webinar, all you have to do is go to TryDayTrading.com/Monty. So for more information, it's TryDayTrading.com/Monty. We'll see you there.
Hey, man, listen, I can only say we run with ballers on this show. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Don't take my word for it. Don't take Alema's word for it. Get to TryDayTrading.com/Monty. Good morning, Big Dog O-Town. Danny will turn them assets into at least a good Tier 2 free agent. Shout out to Mo Bamba.
Yeah, dude.
What does this team need to really we're probably way ahead of it on this. I shouldn't even ask this question.
Shout out to Mo Bamba.
Mo Bamba's not the answer.
Shout out to Mo Bamba.
What does this team need to be a real Western Conference contender? What does this team need to get to 50 wins this season?
I think you need the wing guy that can score with ease. That's what I think you need. I think you need that one guy in your starting five who can be the guy that can get you, 25 a night regularly. And I don't even think he needs to be a superstar in the league. I think, you're I don't know. I don't even know what name to pull, but there are guys out there who are Tier 2 players that can get you 20 to 25 a night right off the wing and play decent defense. And I think, I would love to see Vanderbilt be a guy like that, but I don't think that he's going to be the polished scorer that I think you need on this team. I think Vanderbilt's going to be the guy that gets his by working hard and using his body and really using the length he has to get his buckets. So to me, I think that's what you need to be a Western Conference power. But I also think that the longer this goes on where this team is working hard and playing with pace and almost has this underdog mentality, if you will, the longer that's the core tenet of this team, I think it's interesting to see how that plays out when you try to go and add a free agent to that mix. How does adding a new personality to that mix affect what you're doing?
Yeah. And I think when you think about the best wing scorers in this league, again, I look at the shooting guard conversation we had yesterday
Yeah.
on the show. It's that guy is, I think, what this team needs.
Yeah, I mean, your Jaylen Browns, like if you had a Jaylen Brown on the wing doing his thing, like obviously that would be awesome.
Your Book, your Tatum, your Beal, your those guys.
Yeah.
I think that's what you need. And it again, not to keep going back to it and picking the scab, but again, this is why I ask, why did this club decide to trade Donovan Mitchell?
Yeah.
Because if you have this group of guys, and obviously you wouldn't have this group of guys if you hadn't traded him, but if you put Donovan Mitchell with a group of guys like this, you're probably a better team than you were last year. So that's the guy that you're missing right now, and I think you can get that guy. Those guys are going to be available, and I again think that the Lakers are headed for a fire sale. And it's interesting. The other guy I wonder about, what if you hadn't traded Bojan Bogdanovic?
Yeah.
What if you had held on to Bojan Bogdanovic?
I think so. The thing with Bogey that I didn't love was the fact that he was such a defensive liability. Like the fact that guys could just blow by him. So yeah, obviously his 3-point ability is unquestioned, and his ability to score on the block, with regularity is not really in question. So to me, I'm okay like not having Bogdanovic. Obviously, I don't like the trade and how they did it and everything, but like I'm okay not having Bogdanovic just because of his defensive ineptitude. Like I think this team can't afford to have guys who can't play defense. That's kind of what they stand on. So.
That's one of the core tenets of this team is you have to be try hard guy defensively.
Yes.
And it's so the answer is, and we can keep going back to that, and I hate doing that. We probably should never do that again. But I think where this team is, and I think what this team has, I think you're a elite wing scorer away from being a 50-win team where no matter what, give that guy the ball. Hey, we're tied or down one. We need a bucket. All right, give it to X. He'll get us a bucket. Because Markkanen's not that guy. I mean, he certainly is not shown to be that guy over his career. And I think it's that. I think it's that guy. I think it's that DeMar DeRozan guy. Yeah. You just know if you give him the ball that he's going to get a bucket. That's what I feel like this team needs. Big Dog O-Town gives us a $5 tip. Appreciate that, my guy. NY Monty fan says Jaylen Brown would be good. I agree with Mr. E. Let me go back up and see what they need. Robert Lambert says you need Donovan Mitchell. Mr. E says you need Jaylen Brown. Mark Barrington says, so you're saying we need R.J. Barrett, LOL. But again, I'm not an R.J. Barrett guy, and I know we've had this conversation ad nauseum, but I think this is why you see Danny Ainge not trading for R.J. Barrett. And I think that the information that we were getting during that whole saga is that the Jazz did not want to pay to extend R.J. Barrett. And I think this is exactly why they didn't want to pay to extend R.J. Barrett. And I think you're seeing again, and I didn't look specifically at R.J.'s game last night, but watching a big part of that Knicks game, I can tell you his game did not stand out.
Yeah, well, the thing right now that people are complaining about with the Knicks is that Jalen Brunson's not playing defense. And
he's not playing defense.
R.J. Barrett is suffering on the offensive end because he's having to pick up.
I don't buy that. I don't buy that at all. R.J. Barrett isn't missing threes at an alarming rate because he has to play defense. I look at Jalen Brunson last night, and I agree he did not play great defense. Now, they won the game, and everybody kind of credited him. But I think one of the bigger issues was that They ran with bigger guards last night in Charlotte, and it gives you some pause based on some of the numbers that you saw there. By the way, I don't know if anybody saw that Gordon Hayward had 21 points last night and 9 rebounds.
Yeah.
And I know that this is it's controversial. It's controversy in Salt Lake City.
Right.
Anyway, Gordon Hayward's back. And when you look at the enormous injury that he had in Boston,
right,
I think it took him some time to come back and feel like himself. He's looked like a pretty decent player this year. So, and by the way, I would remind you, they're doing this without LaMelo Ball.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's interesting. The Knicks are an average team because RJ's been an average player this year.
Right.
Because I still maintain he's one of their most important players. And you look at Julius Randle, I think Julius Randle has given them some solid minutes this year. in New York. But that team, and I think a lot of people largely recognize that team is going to go the way that RJ Barrett goes. Yeah. I'm not an RJ Barrett guy. I just think he's good. He's not great.
Yeah.
He's not a guy that I want to give Donnie's contract to.
Yeah, he's not a killer.
Yeah, he's not the guy that you say, oh, man, if we had RJ Barrett, this would be a 50-win team.
Yeah, no.
Because no, it wouldn't.
Not. Yeah,
no, it wouldn't. I'm telling you, it's not RJ Barrett. Cody Strickland says, we have the key players. Trade those picks for a superstar, and that would be what we need. Well, I'm not saying you're wrong.
Yeah.
I just still maintain, I asked the question, how valuable are the assets the Jazz have acquired? Because I don't think that the longer it goes on where you hang on to those picks, beyond this year, obviously your 2023 draft assets are pretty significant, and I would not trade them. I would move every future pick that you have because I think those values go down, not up.
Yeah.
Jeremy Bolton, good morning to you. My guy, Mike, did you see Alex Caruso? The virtuoso performance of the greatest player ever in the history of the world.
Yeah.
Alex Caruso.
Facts.
Mozzarella.
Facts.
He had like a really good sequence last night. Anyway, Jeremy Bolton says if they keep Donovan, they are a better team, but only until they lose in the first round of the playoffs. Very well said. See, that's why I love you, JB. That's exactly right. Forrest G says anyone who still thinks the Jazz are tanking for a 5 to 8% chance of drafting a guy who will have a career-ending injury, wow, are out of their damn minds. Winning team is profitable in the financial trade market. They are. That's why I say if you've listened to this show for any amount of time, you know that we have passionately stated this team's not tanking.
Yeah.
They never have been. That's not who Danny Ainge, and I don't think it's who Ryan Smith is. I was talking to a Jazz guy yesterday who was leaning on me about, hey, we're good. I know you're good. You know, like I'm just telling you, man.
Yeah.
This team is not tanking.
Yeah, they're
not.
definitely not.
Illert Gnick says, I think we need Russell Westbrook to be a contender. Exactly right.
You're casual.
Ed Kiley says, great teams always have someone who can get their own shot when the offense breaks down or the shot clock is running. Truth. Zesty, good morning to you, sir. Zesty's Retro and Game says, morning, Jake and Monty.
So, dude.
Hey. Rob Way, would Hield and Turner help the Jazz top-notch three-point shooter and more D? Leave the Lakers out of the loop. Well, I think the Lakers, I was, again, talking to an NBA guy last night, and there's a lot of people who believe that buyout's coming. There's a lot of people who believe, and I think we talked about this yesterday.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who believe that the Lakers are going to burn this thing to the ground this year.
Wow.
I mean, there is a lot of belief out there in the NBA that they are going to trade Anthony Davis because the front office in LA does not believe he's a superstar.
Right.
He is not a foundational player.
They let you down.
And they have. But you know what the bigger issue is here is they can't make a three-pointer. They cannot shoot the three, and we just said this with the Jazz. If you're going to try and two-point your way to wins, you're not going to win very many games. You cannot rely on winning games from inside the three-point stripe. You have to make threes. If your team is going to shoot less than 30% from three, let's say, you're not going to win many games. And I think when you look at Anthony Davis and LeBron James, LeBron shot an air ball on a logo three last night. Like, what are you doing shooting from that far? But
He's just a hack.
It's the perfect example of what's wrong with this team. They don't have guys who shoot the three at a high level. Mm-hmm. And to the commenter's point, like a guy like Buddy Hield, that's a guy, like I watched that game last night with the Bulls and the Pacers. That's a guy that the Lakers should have had already.
Yeah.
You should have had that guy already. Anthony Davis, and this is the other problem with AD, it's Karl Anthony Towns all over again. Anthony Davis wants to play the 3 or the 4. He doesn't want to play the 5. Well, I got news for you, kid. You're not shooting the ball well enough, and you haven't for 2 years to go out and be a 3 or 4. You're a guy that is a 7-footer who needs to play the 5, and he doesn't want to do that. And even if he does, why did the Jazz dump Rudy Gobert? Well, twofold. He was making $41 million on average, and he's a center.
Yeah.
You don't win building around centers. So I look at the way that the Lakers are built right now. That's their problem. It has nothing to do with LeBron James. And furthermore, you want to go back a little bit? You know what it has to do with? Alex Caruso and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. When you let those two guys go and you did not keep the heart and soul of that team, because who really won the Lakers a championship in the bubble? Now, they're not there without LeBron and AD. I think we all know that.
Yeah.
They don't win that championship without Alex Caruso's defense and without Kentavious Caldwell-Pope shooting as well as he shot. The Lakers do not win a championship without those two guys, which is why it was so surprising that they let Alex Caruso go for $200,000 a year.
Brutal.
That's what the Bulls upped his money, $200,000 a year, and the Lakers said no. They traded Kentavious Caldwell-Pope to Houston or to Washington, and he now winds up in Denver. Like the mistakes that Rob Pelinka has made in roster construction, and the fact that they extended him is shocking to me.
Yeah.
It's shocking. And yes, Russell Westbrook has been an abject failure for the Lakers. They have got to buy him out. It is weighting down this team.
Yeah.
And if I'm the Lakers, I play the percentages. Do not make the playoffs this year. Do not try to win now. That win now mentality for the Lakers, I think they have a 24% chance. 24% chance the Los Angeles Lakers make the playoffs. 24%. They're 0-4 right now. And they're underdogs in their next 7 games.
Yeah.
It's
rough,
unthinkable.
dude. It's rough.
It is unthinkable.
Yeah.
Big Dog O-Town says Jaylen Brown was exactly who I was thinking about. I think a lot of people think about that. Eric Xiang says we need DeAndre Hunter. He'd be fantastic.
Yep.
And I think the Jazz were very close. They were close to making a deal with Atlanta. Would Hunter been in that deal? They clearly valued him. They gave him a massive extension now. They did not want to trade him.
Yeah.
But, man, John Collins, I love that guy. Pink Man says, thoughts on Clarkson's assists. You know what the interesting thing is, and I don't know what the number is off the top of my head. You can see he is trying to be a starter on this team.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely adapting. I mean, he's definitely learning how to move the ball and like play within the system to get his shots, and it's great to see. You know, I think Jordan gets in trouble a little bit in those plays where it's like you're kind of like where there's not really a set, where you're just kind of meandering, like you're sort of in that like midway transition point where it's not a full speed break, but you're kind of half speed running up the court, and like there's not really an offensive set you're running. And so they just go kind of like a pick and roll sort of look. And I think a lot of times he likes to settle for that 3-point shot, but his floater game is really good. And I think we're seeing less of the really bad, just brick it type shot. And we're seeing a lot more passing out of him, which is great to see. And I do think he is tremendously talented and can get his own bucket, but there's still more growth for Jordan in his game. And I think there are more things that he can do to develop as a player. I think getting that shot selection locked in, within this system, I think will drastically smooth things out for this starting group. Once he understands where guys are always going to be and where he can always get his shots, that I think will really make a difference.
Yeah, Jordan Clarkson last night, 29 minutes, 5 of 10 from 3, 6 boards, 5 times 2 steals, a block, 20 points.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a pretty solid contribution.
Yeah, that's production, dude.
I mean and I think Jordan wants to be a starter in this league. I think he doesn't want to be a 6-man.
Yeah,
and I think when you look at the way that Jordan played, and you look at those numbers, and you look at the way that his game has matured significantly, I think you're seeing a guy that's not going to be a bucket getter, exclusively a bucket getter. And I think he does play that role, but I think he is somebody that is leading the Jazz.
And I think the challenge is like on a championship caliber team, like let's say you put Jordan Clarkson on Boston, let's say, or Brooklyn, or one of the Eastern teams.
Yep.
He's probably a 6-man coming off the bench on a championship caliber team.
I would agree with that.
That's what his role has been, and that's what his role was, obviously, for the last several years. So I think this, for him, like with the organization tearing it down and the rebuild and whatever, is very timely for Jordan Clarkson. Because if you're going to try to be a starter, like it would have had to have happened now, so it's been good for Jordan.
Dude, it's cold, by the way.
Yeah. 32 degrees this morning.
Like that collarbone, so for those of you who don't remember, I broke my collarbone as a kid. My brother jumped off of a radiator in Evanston, Illinois.
Macho man.
Yeah, and broke my collarbone with his knee.
Wow.
And so now when it gets cold, it's just like, ooh, like just popping in my collarbone. That's how I know like it's getting cold. Like you're just shifting your body around.
Y'all feel me?
And every injury you've ever had comes back to life. That's how you know. Let's see, a couple more. Football 50 in 10 minutes. Big update on Tommy and Giselle.
Tommy.
Oh, I love this story. I love the Tommy and Giselle
Tommy.
drama. Rec 1, good morning to you. I agree AD was legit to want to play the 4 back then, but it's not who he is anymore. He's slower and has too much shoulder problems. That was affecting his shot. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that at all. Mark Barrington says Kuzma, KCP, Caruso making about as much combined as Westbrook does himself, who they now need to pay to go away. Man, that's a great point. That's a great point. Although I don't think Kyle Kuzma was – I don't think he was terrible for L.A. I just think he wasn't what they needed.
Yeah.
He wasn't that guy. But he's certainly grown a little bit in Washington. But I don't know. Kuzma is so mercurial and he's so difficult to read.
And you have to remember where he was at in his career when he was a Laker. I mean, he was a young guy when he was a Laker. So, I mean, it's kind of hard to right now where he is, it's easy to say, yeah, they should have kept him, but it's hard to see that when he's there.
Yep. Kurt Myers says Saxton, I think you mean Sexton, did get much time and scored 4 points. Well, he also left injured.
Yeah.
We're waiting for an update on that, so that's important. Tanner says, please, 32 degrees is nothing. No, 32 degrees is cold. It feels like I woke up this morning, and last night was one of those nights where you just sleep so well.
Mm-hmm.
It was cold. It was...
one of us passes.
Yeah, dude, like you're cuddled up with your significant other, and you're just out.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get out of bed, and it's like, whoa, it's cold.
Yeah.
And I love those mornings. You get it. I got in the shower this morning, and there was all kinds of steam in the bathroom because the water was like, oh, man.
Yeah, you're a hot shower guy.
Oh, I'm a hot shower guy. I need my hot tub. We go through these phases where we don't get in the hot tub, and I don't quite understand it. Both of you look incredibly uncomfortable today.
Okay. Are you calling me ugly?
Okay.
I'm
just sitting here like shifting and like playing with my collarbone a little bit, but I don't know. I'm wearing my Carhartt jacket or my Columbia jacket. I'm not uncomfortable.
I'm fine.
What do you mean we look uncomfortable? Shot Reyes Filgus, okay, says 82-1. Somehow you want to bet? I don't think I wouldn't bet the mortgage on that. Bradley Beal would be nice. He would be, Mar, but I mean, that's not going to happen. Kuz was more immature on all aspects of his game in LA. I agree with that. Tanner Plummer says, guys, I love this team. I wish they had Mark Eaton. I love this Jazz team. They probably going to 50 games, but they're still going to be fun to watch. They're not going to win 50 games.
Hey guys,
in my opinion, they're not going to be 50. They're not. Seth Anderson, are the rumors true that Jake is waiting until marriage?
Seriously.
We're not allowed to talk about that. We're not. I would love to. There's a huge update on the marriage thing, but we're not allowed to talk about it.
Okay, we can talk about it, but we're not
allowed to talk about it. We will not talk about it.
Apologize to that man.
Let's see. Shot Reyes Filgus. Your name's Shot from now on. Chot? Chot. Not Chote. Chot says Lori better stay healthy. He better.
Wow.
He better. Tanner says, LOL, I'm uncomfortable today. Put a smoker on the line if they win 50 games. They're not going to win 50 games. They're not going to win 50 games. Tanner Plummer says, hey, Mont, how was the dentist? Not fun. Dude, I don't know what's going on. Usually when I go to the dentist, it's not painful. The last 2 times I have been to the dentist, and I've been going to the same dentist for years now.
Right.
You know the shot they give you with that big, long syringe they stick into your
Dude,
gum?
it's so gnar.
It just hits me with like an electric bolt of shock.
Yeah.
Like I broke a tooth. I had a filling on my back molar.
Come on, man.
And I broke a tooth, and then I didn't realize I broke it, so it sat there for several months, I guess.
Right.
From what the dentist told me. So eventually it cracked, the back wall fell out, the filling fell out, like it was a real pain in the ass. And so I go to the dentist, and he fills it, and then yesterday I went back, and he essentially put a temporary crown, took a mold, shaved down my tooth, took a mold, put a temporary crown on there, etc. But he goes to put the shot in to my gum, and it just was like, you know how you're in so much pain that you hear it? Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? And it just is like, oh, and you can't move because the guy literally has half of his hand in my mouth, and my mouth is open, right? And he's got half his hand in your mouth. You can't move. And it didn't hurt until like he pushed the needle in further.
Yeah.
And then it was like,
Fucking A.
yeah, dude. And it was like I had tears running out of my eyes. It was so painful. Like, I mean, it wasn't, when you're crying and your tears are running, but when you're not crying, but still your eyes are watering.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah,
my
dude.
God.
Yes. Yes.
It was
horrible,
brutal,
bro.
And then he goes to like he takes his drill.
Bonnie, please.
The worst sound ever. And he starts working on my tooth, and it was like,
Yeah.
and so he
It
put some
vibrates
more in,
your eardrum.
then it was fine.
Yeah.
But the worst part about going to the dentist when they're doing drill work is the taste and the smell.
Oh.
It's gnar, dude. Yesterday was not a good trip to the dentist.
No.
It was, Taylor Made Gaming and Sports said Mark Eaton. Yes, I did.
Right.
God bless Mark Eaton. Tanner said, I'm going to the dentist tomorrow, and I'm not looking forward to it. There you go. Mark Eaton is better than Rudy Crybaby Gobert. Okay. MY Monty fan says, Mark Eaton's beard has nothing on Teddy Wayman's beard. You might as well pencil that thing in for president in 2024.
Yeah.
Well,
You know what I mean?
And the problem is Teddy's beard has declined in prominence as far as our polling goes, because
Right.
we do scientific polling to get the data right.
Uh-oh.
As all electorates do.
Right.
And from what we understand, Herschel Walker's getting more votes than Teddy Wayman because Teddy likes blue cheese.
How about that?
So,
Sorry, buddy.
yeah. Boyd, what are you doing? Boyd Lake says, I hate when you smell burning bone at the dentist.
Bruh. Nah, I'm fine.
God damn. It's not good. Jeremy Bolton says, guys, if you go back to the 80s and you choose one dentist to work on the Jazz team, which dentist would it be?
Hey guys.
Dave
Hey, guys.
Corzine.
Hey guys.
All right, bots are in the chat.
Well, that didn't take too long, did it?
It only took 48
Yeah, that
minutes
didn't
here on
take
the
too
Monty
long.
Show.
We almost made it a whole show yesterday.
Yeah, we almost made it a whole show yesterday without, and now I got to report. And look at that. My guys at YouTube filtered it.
There you go. See? YouTube's
Appreciate
getting better.
you. YouTube is getting better. By
Yeah.
the way, we have no ability to, none of that.
Yeah.
None of that. Herschel's head is full of peanuts, and yet he might win. Not might win, he will win. Cody Strickland says, hey, boys, is it really the players making this happen or our new coach? Because honestly, I think it's more, it's will more than anything. I think it's a combination of both.
Yeah.
I think it's a combination of both. And when you look at the way they're playing and all the things that are going on with them, I think it's really I mean, you have a whole new roster essentially.
Yeah.
And you have a lot of guys that are on really important stretches in their career. I mean, Colin Sexton is coming off of a major knee injury. And I think Colin Sexton believes he's a superstar, and he's got to prove that. And I think the only reason that, people know that 10 of the hour, every hour, it's football at 50 is because we've proven that. That we do football at 50, 10 of the hour, every hour.
Let's go.
On the Monty Show. Presented by Papa Murphy's Pizza. Use your promo code.
Tonight's the night.
Yeah, tonight is the night.
Tonight's
We will
the night.
order Papa Murphy's Pizza for dinner tonight.
Go.
In the Traeger, and we will get in the hot tub while we watch the Utah Jets take on Washington State in Pullman, Washington tonight to kick us off.
See what he did there? It's football and kicking us off. Like, you see what he did?
Football 50 kicking off with the Utes. How big is this game for the Utah Utes?
I think it's huge. I mean, I think that, so you get the win over USC in dramatic fashion, and I think that it's just one of those things where now you have to follow that up. And I think we've heard for years and years and years that going to Pullman is where people go to die. Like that's what going to Washington State on the road, middle of the week, and thankfully you're coming off a bye this time, but this is going to be a difficult game. That Cam Ward is going to come out and perform. That you're going to have your hands full, and I would expect this defense to be prepared. But I think as far as magnitude of this game, I think if you can win this game, you're right back in the hunt, But it's not good enough just to win the SC game. Now you got to follow that up, and I think I would expect them to win this game. I do expect them to win the game, but I think it's going to be a battle, to say the least.
You do?
Yeah.
All right. I mean, the Utes are now a full touchdown favorite in this game. The question is by how much do they have to win? Because I think the interesting conversation is it enough for Utah to just win the game? I don't think it is. And coming up at 8 o'clock, we'll have a full preview for you. By the way, don't forget Gabe Judy Lally will join us from BYU as they get ready for East Carolina tomorrow at LaVelle Edwards. So we'll talk to Gabe Judy Lally coming up at 8:30 right here on the Monty Show. So stick around for that. But I think with Utah, I think that's a very interesting question. How much do they have to win by?
Yeah.
How much is enough to yeah, I don't. And the answer is I don't know.
I would love to see a 10-point win, but I think that's asking a lot. I think you're going on the road, you're middle of the week. Like I think that's, and again, you are coming off your bye, so you it's not like it's a short week for you. Like I think you've got more than enough time to prepare for this game. But
I think you need a convincing, significant statement kind of win. We'll talk Utes coming up in an hour. The Chicago frickin' Bears.
My God.
The Chicago Bears traded Robert Quinn to the Philadelphia Eagles for a 4th-round pick yesterday, and the Bears will also pay a significant portion of his remaining salary. Did you see Roquan Smith yesterday meeting with the media? The trade goes down while he's meeting with the media, and the media broke it to him, and Roquan Smith said, yeah, you know what? I need a minute, and was trying not to start crying. Because that's how much Robert Quinn meant to Roquan Smith in that locker room. But if you're the Bears, you're going nowhere. I mean, this is a team that is clearly rebuilding.
Yeah.
And I think that you obviously have an unsettled quarterback position. I think you don't believe in the guy that is playing the position for you.
Yeah.
Your defense has a lot of questions on it. I actually don't think this was a bad move, and 4th-round picks in the NFL are actually valuable.
Yeah, I mean, it just, you don't love trading defensive line talent. I'm not a big believer in that, but, hey, I get it. You're rebuilding. So, I just want the Bears, to get to a place where they're, competitive. That's what I want. I know you're winning some of these games, but, I want you to compete for a playoff spot at some point.
Yeah, right now is a tough time to be a Bears fan, let's be honest. It's a tough time to be a Cowboy fan because Ezekiel Elliott is dealing with a sprained knee. They don't need Zeke to beat the Bears. I don't think he should play this week. He claims he's going to try and play. I mean, the guy played with a torn PCL last year.
Yeah.
My guess is he's going to try and play, but if I'm the Dallas Cowboys, I hold him out.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing with the Cowboys is you're in a good spot, and obviously that division this year is very competitive, but I just don't see a way, how... I just can't envision them losing to the Bears. I just don't see that happening, and I think that Zeke, to your point, hasn't exactly been their huge difference-making running back this year.
No.
So I would completely agree that I just don't think it's necessary to run him out there against the Bears this week.
Yeah, that's a 9.5-point line in favor of the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday morning.
Yeah.
I said 9.5.
9.5, bro.
The Cowboys are
it's
a
embarrassing.
9.5-point favorite at home against the Chicago Bears. By the way, One of the other interesting lines is the Saints and Raiders. The Saints are a 1.5-point home dog to the Oakland Football Raiders of Las Vegas. Did you hear that the New Orleans Saints are not going to play a healthy Jameis Winston? They are going to play Andy Dalton over a healthy Jameis Winston. Are you surprised by that?
I mean, I think the problem for Jameis is that he's not mature enough to play the position. Like, that's why Andy's getting the nod. Like, I'm not really that surprised by it because there's just not a lot of reliability in Jameis Winston. You know he's going to turn the football over. You know that conversely, Andy Dalton is good enough to win you games. He's not the best thing since sliced bread, but he's better than Jameis, that's for sure. So no, I'm not really surprised by it.
Okay. I agree with Cam Harrison, who says time to use that Papa Murphy's promo code for tonight's game. Yeah, absolutely. We will be doing that. And of course now we have to get to the Tommy Brady.
Gisele's
Bunchton lobbed a final ultimatum at Tommy, because ultimatums are the hallmark of healthy relationships. Gisele's Bunchton said that Tommy can save their marriage if he stops playing football.
Uh-huh.
To which I say, all right, do you need to hire movers to pack your shit and get out? Or how are we going to do this? Because I just don't think, excuse my French, I promised I would not curse today. I lied. I don't think that in a healthy marriage that you can be like, okay, well, listen.
Hey, guys.
If you lose 10 pounds, fat ass, we'll stay together. If you say to Tommy, hey, Tom, listen, if you want to continue to have a marriage to my Bunchton, you probably, might want to definitely, you have to stop playing football. I just think this smacks of stupidity. If you are Gisele's Bunchton, and again, this is sources. I want to say it was Us Weekly or one of those stupid fish wraps. Was like, hey, our sources close to Gisele's Bunchton are saying that she gave Tom an ultimatum. What do you do if you're TB12 here? Again, Jake has a significant relationship update that we are not allowed to talk about. Not allowed to talk about ever. But go ahead and give relationship advice to Tommy.
You're cold-blooded, bro. You're cold-blooded,
We're not talking about it. I will snap on a
You're cold-blooded, bro.
If you talk about it, I'll kill you. I will kill you.
He threatened to stab me with a wrought iron pitchfork if I brought up his relationship situation. Anyway, go ahead. You're the relationship expert.
No, I'm not. Clearly, I'm not. No, obviously not. No.
God, I love it. That's not the right thing for Gisele's Bunchton to do. If I'm Tom Brady, I'd tell her to pound sand, kick rocks, because you're not. I'm playing a kid's game, making millions of dollars, and I understand Gisele's point is that hey, my Bunchton wants to be, happy for the rest of its life, and if Tommy suffers another significant injury or concussions and he can't live his best life, I totally get it. It's wrong of her to drop an ultimatum on him.
Yeah, I think ultimatums are never good. Like, you're never going to get what you want with ultimatums, and I think that, if you're Tom Brady, like, what else are you, what else are you supposed to do?
Yeah. I turned the music down because Jake's giving relationship advice. So let's turn it back up. Anyway, the point is that, who do you side with, Tommy or Gisele on this? I actually understand Gisele's point.
Yeah, I understand it, but I'm not siding with her on it.
And why we bring this up on Football at 50, I have no idea. Did you guys see the Kanye West, or excuse me, Ye or Year, whatever the hell his name is now? Mr. Anti-Semitic jerk walked in the Skechers yesterday with a film crew and was like, hey, I want to see the owners of the company. And they were like, okay, great, let me get them. They called security, and they called two upper managers who came down and walked him out of the building and told him not to come back.
Yeah.
Ye thought that he could walk into a company owned by Jewish folks, that is a Jewish-owned company, and move his Yeezy line to Skechers. It doesn't work that way, hater.
Yeah, I just think it's classic Ye or Kanye, Yee, Yahoo, whatever. Like, it's classic. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. I do. He's got relationship problems too, so him and Tommy have something in common.
Are you done?
What do you mean? Are you upset with me now? What? What? I'm just pointing out that Ye and Tommy have relationship issues.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's getting divorced from Kim K, and Tommy and Giselle are separated.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. And as the relationship guru on the show,
Why
I
do you
wanted
do this?
you to do what? Do what? We all
It's
have
not
roles.
a difficult ask.
It's not. Anyway. All right. Kanye is a Karen. Why am I not surprised? Tanner Plummer says. Teddy says Jake looks pissed.
Yeah, it's a simple ask. Like,
You actually, anyway, let's see. Jake's relationship status is all gas, no break. Pew, pew, bang, bang.
Yeah.
Come on. That's funny. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. Football at 50-10 of the hour, every hour on the Monty Show. I thought you said we could joke about it. It's fine. I'll never bring it up again. Ever. But I will bring up the fact that you only have one more weekend to get your Jack O Pizza at Papa Murphy's.
911, what's your emergency?
Something is in my house.
I'm sorry, say again?
I smell something delicious and I don't know what it is.
Ma'am, can you describe it for me?
It smells like golden crust, freshly shredded cheese, and pepperoni.
Ma'am, we've traced the smell, and it's coming from inside your oven.
What do you mean?
It's a Papa Murphy's Jacko Pizza, and it's just $10.
Ah, amazing.
Papa Murphy's.
There you go. Use the promo code Monty25 to get 25% off your purchase at $25 or more. When you order online, I'm telling you guys, download the app. That is absolutely the right way to go. Jake, are we Papa Murphy?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
Tonight's tonight.
Papa Murphy's, the hot tub.
Yeah.
What's on the pizza tonight?
I think it's the usual. It's the onion mix, the pineapple, the mushroom maybe. I don't know.
So pineapple and mushroom, onion.
Yeah. Onion mix.
Are
cheese.
we going? We went thin crust. Are we back on the traditional crust?
Yeah, I'm a traditional crust guy.
Okay.
That's what I like.
Okay. Tanner Plummer says, oh, great, this stupid commercial again. Okay. Lopes Van Gabe says, can't imagine anything better for establishing and keeping strong relationships than your dad acting like a child when publicly discussing them.
Mm-hmm.
What? What does Tom Brady's dad have to do with this?
Mm-hmm.
What are you talking about? Mm-hmm. Who is the Jack O of the week? It's probably me.
I don't know.
It's probably me. Ham and pineapple bacon. Ooh, I love. I don't eat bacon almost ever. We actually had a sandwich yesterday for lunch. What did I do? I gave you my bacon.
Yeah, that's right. You did.
I gave you my bacon.
Yeah.
That's how committed to it I am.
Yeah.
Kurt Meyer says, do we have a show tomorrow? Yes, we have a show tomorrow. And then we will be jetting off to Boise. Well, in a car. We'll be jetting. Okay. Pepperoni, mushroom, and onion is the power move, Alan Corbin says. Are you a pepperoni guy?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay. Chicken Thai pizza. Oh, Jerome, yes. Chicken Thai pizza is so good. For the record, Monty, I hate blue cheese, ranch all the way. I thought you were a blue cheese guy.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
You said the other day you were a blue cheese guy. I thought
That's what I thought.
I don't make mistakes, so this has
Right.
I kid. All right, it is 7:00 on the Monty Show. Thanks for being here. Presented by our good friends at the Advocates, UtahAdvocates.com. Again, if you've been in Iraq, if you've been injured, I know that it's 30 degrees and raining out. So yeah, you probably should be careful driving to the office today if you're heading out. But should you get in a wreck, and if you're injured in a wreck, if you're riding your motorcycle, if you get injured at work, you didn't deserve those injuries, but you do deserve somebody to fight for you. You do deserve an advocate. That's why you go to the Advocates, UtahAdvocates.com. They are the best injury attorneys in the business, and the best part is there's no out-of-pocket expense with them. You do not pay the Utah Advocates until they win your case at UtahAdvocates.com. And by the way, they can also help you defer your medical bills. Absolutely, you should do that. Don't trust your insurance company. Trust your advocate at utahadvocate.com. Obviously, the Jazz are a huge story. They win again last night. They are tied for the lead in the NBA in wins at 4-1 with Portland, who, by the way, did you see Dame got hurt last night?
Yeah.
He has a right calf strain. Good luck.
I love when guys are like, "Oh, if it was a playoff game, I would have kept playing."
Yeah, I did that annoy you? I didn't want to be a jerk this morning. We were watching SportsCenter getting ready for the show, and he said, "If it was a playoff game, I'd have played." Well, then why aren't you playing?
Yeah.
Like, I hate that.
Yeah.
That answer drives me crazy.
Yeah.
When guys are like, "Oh, if it was a playoff game, I'd have been there."
But it's a regular season game, so we're not playing.
So I'm not going to be there.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, bud. But Damian Lillard out with a right calf strain, and they take forever to heal. As somebody who has dealt with a significant calf strain in my life, I can tell you it's impossible. And my calf strain was a basketball calf strain.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. It takes months to heal. I don't believe they ever go away.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. And I just think they're the worst thing in the world. They are the worst thing in the world. While we're debating pepperoni on pizza. Pepperoni was good back in the day, but now it's just so greasy.
It is. Totally.
I'm not a pepperoni. This is where we need Deuce to get back on the show.
Yeah.
Because Deuce is a huge...
He's a pepperoni connoisseur.
Yeah, our guy Caleb Harrison is a huge pepperoni guy.
Yeah.
Jeff Johnson says, "Yo, guys, I would never say such a thing. Must have been Greg Hawkins." Well, Greg is a huge blue cheese guy. Absolutely. You could go with the Caruso pizza, blue cheese, pepperoni, and poop flats.
Poop flats.
That's not nice, Jeremy. That's not nice. Josh Lovern says, guys. Hey, guys. I love that people still imitate him. Tanner,
Hey,
what's the worst topping on their own, but together they bang?
Hey, guys.
Green onions with anything. I mean, nobody eats green onions on their own.
Yeah, it's
right?
not. Yeah, it's uncouth.
Green onion. And you know what? Spinach. Like, my wife will eat a raw spinach salad all day long.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not doing it. Now, you want to put that spinach in an omelet all day long. You want to put that spinach in vegetable soup all day long. You want to put that spinach on pizza all day long. By itself? Hell no. Kale. Again, kale.
Not a kale guy.
Oh, hey.
Not a kale guy at
Guys,
all.
let's get some kale chips.
Hey,
I
guys.
need a snack.
Hey, guys.
Let's see,
Hey, guys.
Doritos or kale
Hey, guys.
chips? I'm going kale chips. No, I'm not. Now, you put kale in soup? Yes. You juice kale and give it to me, kale. Dino kale.
Yeah.
You put some dino kale in your vegetable juice. I'm drinking it.
Yeah.
I am not eating kale on its own. I'm just saying. Salty Drunk says a calf strain is an old man injury. Yeah, it hurts like hell.
And he's had a lot of injuries.
It is not great at all. Is what I would say. Hello. And my Monty fan says the devil's giblets are never a good choice. Yeah,
No,
olives.
ever.
Olives don't go well with anything. Olives, like beets, are another thing that just... I honestly think the devil created beets just so that we would have to drink his urine and beet juice. That's just my opinion. I don't have, much
Hey,
like
guys.
George Kliavkoff, I don't have facts to back up anything that I say.
Back of the envelope calculations.
Let's talk about good old Georgie boy.
Yeah.
George Kliavkoff, the commissioner of the Pac-12.
Yeah.
I don't understand this guy. I've tried. Like, I have tried to... After Larry Scott, your mom could have become the commissioner and I would have supported her, right? Like, George Kliavkoff just won't shut up about money and UCLA. And George Kliavkoff says that he has yet to talk to anyone. And he said a single person who supports UCLA and USC moving to the Big Ten. To which I say, you're just not very smart.
How many UCLA coaches and athletes have you spoken with to assess their thoughts on the move to the Big Ten?
I think saying hundreds would be an exaggeration. Dozens, more than 100. And I have yet to talk to anyone in the UCLA and USC community who's in favor of the move. I will say that I probably hear from folks who are not in favor, right? Not surprisingly.
Not a single person. Not one. 100. I've talked to...
I doubt that.
Well, I haven't talked to hundreds. Look, and I'm not good at math because we do back-of-the-envelope calculations here. He was also asked, they said to him, hey, you talked about numbers. and you said that UCLA would lose money. Do you have the numbers to back that up? Well, I gave them to the Board of Regents. Can you tell us what they are? No, you can look them up. Look them up. Oh, so you don't have them, is what you're saying? You don't have. What is wrong with this guy?
Yeah.
What is wrong with this guy? And I've tried, and the reason that we're talking about this is because yesterday was Pac-12 Basketball Media Day, and there has been, I don't know, probably for several days, conversations with people that I know in TV who are in the know on this that say that Amazon really would like to do business with the Big Ten, but that the Big Ten doesn't have and may struggle to provide value to Amazon. That's really what Amazon's concern is, because if you look at Amazon Sports has ramped up their staffing significantly. Over the last 18 months, Amazon has added middle-level managers. They have added executive directors. They have added, Army on-the-ground troops to their sports department. They are going to add college football. Mm-hmm. Most people thought it would be the Big Ten, but the problem is the Big Ten signed a massive television contract. And like most people, I'm in the belief, and I've heard, that Amazon doesn't want to be like tier 71. Like, they don't want to take your 10th best game of the weekend.
Are we clear on that?
And put it on Amazon Prime Video, right? So that's why I think that deal has not been done. Now, I haven't corroborated that, and the Big Ten has not said that. But I was told yesterday directly by sources involved in the conversation that Amazon would like to be tier 2 to the Big 12 or the Pac-12, and that they would be amenable to offering a significant upgrade financially to be tier 2. So when we look at rights, the best game of the weekend goes to tier 1. So right now in the Pac-12, that's usually ESPN, right? You look at tonight, where is Utah and Washington State? It's on Fox. Well, what Amazon Prime wants, and what Prime Video is the proper terminology for it, what Prime Video wants is to take the second best Pac-12 or Big 12 game and have it exclusively on Prime Video. That's what they want, and they are willing to pay more money for that. They're willing to pony up to be in second position. The question now becomes, which conference is that and who is attractive enough? And again, I was told directly yesterday that Amazon is talking to both the Big 12 and the Pac-12, but that ESPN, I was told directly yesterday, still maintains the best solution for everybody is a merger between the Big 12 and the Pac-12, and that the Big 12 would be amenable to taking teams from the Pac-12 and creating a conference, but the Pac-12 will not even entertain a discussion. They believe that they are in a power position, the Pac-12, where they can make more money, add more teams, and that they believe. And George Kliavkoff, again, I think is a bloviator. I think at times, in my opinion, George Kliavkoff has straight up lied, bold-faced lied to people about like these numbers on the back of an envelope. I think they're all crap. I think it's garbage. I think he absolutely fabricated those numbers, in my opinion. And it's why he won't give them lock, stock, and barrel. When he was asked directly yesterday by a member of the media who said, hey, can you tell us those numbers? He said, you can go look them up. Because he doesn't, if you're George Kliavkoff and you are so adamant that UCLA is going to lose money and you've done all this accounting and you've given all these numbers to the Board of Regents, you're telling me you can't just pull that right off the top of your head when it's life or flipping death for the Pac-12. You can't pull those numbers off the top of your head, but yet you did some calculations on the back of the envelope. Those are your words, dude, not mine. George Kliavkoff straight up said, oh yeah, we did some back of the envelope calculations. But you can't pull those off the top of your head. In my opinion, that's because you're lying.
Yeah.
You're fabricating. You're spinning. You're trying to undermine UCLA because without UCLA, you probably don't have a chance of survival. So in my opinion, I think Amazon offers a life ring. They're throwing not a lifeboat, not a life vest, just a life ring. You know, those rings with
the little ones that you kind of throw off the boat and hope for the best,
Anyway, the point is,
the donut.
I, in my opinion, believe that George Kliavkoff is desperate, and I think Amazon offers him a lifeline. But again, I just say, if you're the Big Ten, I think you have to do everything you can do to add Washington and Oregon and Cal and Stanford. I think you have to, because guess what? If Cal leaves, all of this UCLA nonsense goes right out the window, because they'd both be in the Big Ten then. They'd be travel partners. Like, This whole thing is such a disaster, and I still maintain I don't see a way that the Pac-12 survives.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think everything you said there is spot on. And I think that, like it's so obvious what they're doing. They're obviously trying to pander and be that conference that, says they're the best, but, obviously is not the best. Like, that's what they do. That's what the Pac-12 is known to do. So I guess their product is still valuable. And obviously Amazon's kind of a new player in the space, so it makes sense to me why they're looking to get that onto their platform. But I don't know what. So I don't know what happens to the Pac-12 long term if this whole thing goes down where all those teams go to the Big Ten and you've only got 6 teams left in the Pac. I don't know how that pans out long term. That's my question. If you're Amazon and you're willing to pay for tier 2 rights to get the second best game of the week, on your platform, what is how long are you going to sign an agreement for? You can't tell me you're doing 10 years, right? With all the change rumored to be coming to the conference, you're really going to do 10 years where you're paying that kind of money? Because tier 2 right now is way more valuable than tier 2 could be in 3 years if all those teams leave. So that to me is the question. The executives at Amazon who handle this stuff, I just think commitment-wise, you can't tell me they're going more than 5 years. I don't see any way that that's possible.
Yeah, I don't see any way possible that if you are a Pac-12 school, and I think this is really where the rubber meets the road in this conversation, by the way. If you are Stanford, if you are Utah, look at Utah. If you're the Utah Utes, are you signing a 5-year grant of rights to remain in the Pac-12? I don't know how you do that. Especially because some of the numbers that are being thrown out are insane, and I say insane on the low end. That if Amazon comes on, there's people who believe that they will still only be at $35 million a year per school. That's just not survivable. And I think ESPN as tier 1 and Fox as tier 2 gets you to 25. But if Amazon takes your tier 2 rights, and they offer more money per school per year, right? Because you'll have 10 schools left after USC and UCLA leave. If you are in that position and you offer $100 million a year to be tier 2, is anybody accepting that? I mean, I don't know that Amazon can go higher than that.
Yeah.
Why would Amazon do that? It just doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I then turn back to the Big 12 and I say it makes all the sense in the world for the Big 12 to add Pac-12 schools. And it makes all the sense in the world, just penciling it out, it makes all the sense in the world for the Big 10 to add Washington, Oregon, Cal, and Stanford. The question for the Big 10 is, how do you add revenue? And if you are Prime Video, what is the value in being, because you're not even going to be tier 3. You would be tier 4 at that point. So where are you going to get new subscriber additions as with the 4th best game of the weekend and a reality series? Because that's what we had been told several weeks ago that Amazon was offering. And the question is, I don't know. Because what does it look like if you are the Big 10? What is your 4th best game of the weekend? If you look at the schedule, I was looking at the schedule this morning. If you look at the schedule, right, in the Big 10 this weekend, and let's just play this weekend, right? If you look at the Big 10 this weekend, their best game is probably Ohio State, Penn State.
Mm-hmm.
Which is that even a great game?
Not really. Not this year.
I think I could argue that Michigan State is just as attractive as Ohio State, Penn State. And Michigan's a 23-point home favorite in that game.
Yeah.
Right? So, okay, let's call those clearly the 2 best games of the weekend in the Big 10, right?
Right.
So let's say that in this scenario, right, Fox has the Ohio State-Penn State game. ABC has the Michigan State game. So you would take out ABC and you would add, because we know that ESPN and ABC are out on the Big 10, you would toss that number 1 game to Fox. You would put the number 2 game on CBS.
Yeah.
Okay, well, where's the late night game? What's the late game in the Big 10? Well, there really isn't one. I think your 3rd best game is probably Number 17, Illinois at Nebraska. Okay, so let's say that's the Big Ten After Dark game that goes to NBC.
Yeah.
So now if you're Prime Video this weekend, you'd be looking at flipping Rutgers in Minnesota or a 1-6 Northwestern team at 3-4 Iowa.
It's not attractive.
What is the value in that?
Yeah.
That's the real issue. And if you push out several weeks, it doesn't get better.
Right.
It doesn't get better. Like in 2 weeks on the weekend of November 7th, I guess it would be, it's Michigan and Rutgers, Penn State, Indiana, Illinois, Michigan State. Ohio State's on a bye that week. Okay, well, let's go to week 11 then. Okay, Ohio State's back against Indiana. It's Nebraska, Michigan. Like there's not a great fourth game.
Yeah.
That's the real issue right now is the rest of this conference has to come up.
Yeah, 100%.
And hey, if we put UCLA and USC and UCLA in there, and let's say we get a USC-UCLA game that becomes the NBC late night game. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's great. That still doesn't solve Prime Video's problem of, okay, I'm getting the fourth, fifth, sixth best game in the Big Ten. I think that's the real issue that Prime Video faces is where am I getting value in any of this? And I think the question is you're not getting value. You're not. If you're Amazon in the Big Ten, it's going to be a very difficult marriage to make. Now, if you're Apple TV and you're just trying to get into sports, more because the MLS TV deal seems like a disaster for Apple TV. Nobody's happy that local broadcasters are done at the MLS, right? I think it makes more sense to take, fourth or fifth best game in the Big Ten and put that on Apple TV. Okay, that makes some sense to me. If I'm Amazon and Prime Video, I'm going to the Pac-12 and the Big 12. And I'm on with ESPN and I'm trying to get that second best game because again, if we just do, some reading of the tea leaves here,
right, on
the Monty Show presented by the Advocates, UtahAdvocates.com, right? If I go to this weekend in the Big 12, right, I get decent games. Baylor, Texas Tech is a decent game. What's the best game in the conference this weekend? Probably Oklahoma, Iowa State.
Right.
TCU, West Virginia. TCU 7-0. Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. What's the best game in the Pac-12 this weekend? Okay. Well, again, I think it's pretty thin. I think I can make an argument that by far, I say it's probably Oregon and Cal. But I also think I can make the argument Utah-Washington State's going to be a hell of a football game.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a Thursday night game in Pullman, Washington. Does that exist in a new TV deal?
No, probably not.
Probably not.
And I think for Amazon, this point you're making about quality of the game they're getting, to this point, Amazon's been struggling just to get a good quality NFL matchup. Right? Like, that's what we've been talking about on the show.
Thursday night football has not been great.
It's not been great. So, and they've been getting, I think, the last time we looked at the numbers, they've been getting 10, 11 million. Like, they've been getting really good viewership. So, I think for Amazon, the battle is, or maybe the conversation is, like, how do we, for a product like Amazon that can be on people's phones, that they can get anywhere, how good does the college football matchup have to be for them to get done what they need to get done? That's my question, because I don't think it has to be, the best of the best, but some of these matchups, like, you look at ASU and Colorado, that's not going to get it done. Like, it's not. Like, some of those Big Ten matchups, what was that, Northwestern and whoever the hell that was, like Iowa, that's not going to get it done.
Yeah.
So it's
man.
I don't know how you work within that. Like, I tend to agree that the Big Ten is very top heavy. Even if you do add, when you add SC and UCLA, you're still really top heavy. So from a TV standpoint,
if you take USC and UCLA out of the Pac-12, there is no top.
Then you have to go to the Big Ten.
Right?
I don't know what you do.
That's why I'm saying, and there are some, listen, if all things are being equal and USC and UCLA are out of this conversation, Utah-Washington State's the best game of the weekend, right? And then because I think Thursdays go away. If I'm the Pac-12, I'm not playing Friday night games anymore. I'm not sending USC to Pullman to die. I'm not sending Utah to Pullman to die on a Thursday night. I'm not doing that. I look at like Oregon Cal this weekend would be their marquee game because Oregon in this scenario is the 8th team in the country, and they're by far right now, I think, the best team in the conference until they're not. But in 2 weeks, you get better matchups, right? You get Oregon State and Washington, both 6-2 football teams.
Yeah,
that's a good matchup. UCLA and Arizona State's a decent matchup, right? But Washington State and Stanford, are you excited about that? I'm not excited about that.
Not really.
Even if we go to week 11 in the mid-November, I'm not excited about Colorado USC. The best game that weekend, I think I can make an argument, is probably Washington and Oregon.
Yeah.
And that's at Autzen Stadium. And I don't know where the quality is coming from. And I don't know where the value on any of these is coming from. All right, let's get your thoughts on this. Jerome Patterson says Utah should win, but they unfortunately typically play to the level of their competition. You're not wrong about that. But I think Witt's had almost 2 weeks to say, hey, this is a massive football game for us. This is a massive football game. Good morning to you. Steve Barnhart, NY Monty fan, says U of U is too good of a football school to die in the Pac-12.
Agreed.
How do you get out of that? Jeremy Severai says, says, what is Utah's position in this? Will they go to the Big 12? If you're Utah, I think you want the Big 12. I don't think you want the Big 10. I think you want the Holy War as a game of consequence. If BYU Utah is for a division championship or for a conference championship, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I mean, how much heat does that put on it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's everything you want. Like everything.
Seth Anderson said, I've talked to Utah faves that believe the Pac will poach Big 12's best teams. I find that very hard to believe. I don't see any way that the Pac-12 is an equity position for a Big 12 team. And I've seen all of these Houston, Texas Tech, TCU.
Yeah.
Why would Texas Tech leave the comfort of the Big 12 to go to the Pac-12? What sense does that? And by the way, does Texas Tech save the Pac-12?
No,
it does not. It does not. I don't think anyway. But that's just me. I mean, I don't know. Josh Levern says you send teams to Pullman on Thursday, so if they lose by the time the AP places votes and East Coast media have time to forget most of the games. No, that's completely not true. I think you send teams on Thursday night to Pullman because you're stupid. That's why you send teams. I mean, we've talked about this for a decade.
Yeah.
Where we've seen year after year. And USC several years ago went to Pullman and died.
Yes.
You cannot send it. It's coming off of a bye. It's different. Thursday night football after you played 2 weeks ago, okay, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Right? But you cannot send a Saturday, Thursday till in Pullman on the road. You can't do that.
Yeah.
It's not smart. It's not good for the student athlete. And I love how Kliavkoff is like, oh, you can't send UCLA out there. The Big Ten is going to be terrible for the athlete. Okay, so your Thursday night football game is not terrible for the athlete.
Having fun is the name of the game.
You're a clown. Dude.
Yeah.
You're a clown.
Yeah.
Kliavkoff is a clown.
Oh, and I think that's kind of the general sentiment. I mean, you can't tell me that the media there at Basketball Media Day, enjoys the answers he was giving. I mean, it just is very clear what he's doing.
Jeff Johnson says, are you guys going to talk about the World Series this next week or no? Geoff, listen, bro. Yeah, of course. We're going to talk about the World Series tomorrow. It starts tomorrow. My left fielder is in the World Series, so of course we're going to talk about it.
Your left fielder.
It's my damn left fielder and Kyle Schwarber. He should still be a Chicago Cub.
He should.
And he's not. And it's disgusting.
Yeah, next question.
He's in the World Series. Now, of course, nobody likes the Astros. Not even people in Houston like those cheating Fs.
Yeah.
NY Monty fan says, can we all agree the Pac-12 has no clue what they're doing and all teams should be able to get out of the conference? How is Commish K still running the Pac-12? It's brutal. Stop it, Boyd. Nobody likes the Astros.
Guy,
nobody.
Come on.
Nobody, Boyd. No, open the garage door before you start the car, please. Thank you. Tyler P says, I need Utah and BYU in the same conference. We. Let's see. Jeremy Bolton says, I second that, Tyler P. I want that rivalry game every year. Everybody does, except Utah fans, because then when they lose, they have to say we lost. And then there's like, but we won 10 straight. You know. Jeff Johnson says, baseball on the Monty Show. Christmas is coming early this year, baby. Exactly right. Exactly right. 7:30 on the Monty Show. The biggest stories in sports this morning are presented, as always, by Quick Quack Car Wash. It's raining and snowing. You got to get to Quick Quack Car Wash, right? I mean, there's just no doubt about that. They're friendly. It's fast. They're efficient. You can bring the kids because they've got colors and the soap that's different colors and the lights and the flashing lights, and your kids are going to love it. At Quick Quack Car Wash, we go because Klaus, the Audi, can we just decide what the pronunciation is? Is it okay if I say Udi?
I guess.
That just seems obnoxious, and that's how I like to roll. But anyway, you slice it. Quick Quack Car Wash for your Udi or your Chevy is the best way to go.
Okay, guys, I'm going to tell you the secret to impressing my neighbors, the wife, coworkers, you name it. I just swing by Quick Quack. It seriously takes 2 minutes, and people can't stop, won't stop checking me out. Getting a clean car is definitely my best life hack. Kids are messy, camping's dirty, but my truck sure isn't.
That's Jake's favorite Quick Quack commercial. That or the one where the kid draws on the car in lipstick?
I think the dude.
The dude. You like that.
The dude.
All right. I think the biggest stories in sports this morning, there's no doubt in my mind that it is the Utah Jazz from last night. Utah wins 109-101 in a really entertaining game with the Houston Rockets. Jazz are in Denver tomorrow night at 7. I am just so wildly excited for Jazz fans. It is really, I mean, the doom and gloom that this season could have been for the Utah Jazz, to see it turn and not be doom and gloom, I think is absolutely sensational.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that it's a really exciting time to be, a Jazz fan. I think that when you look at, when you look at this team and you look at like what they play for and how they go about playing the game, I think it's just nice to see, I guess. I think I hear from Jazz fans a lot when I get DMs or on Twitter or whatever. Like, a lot of people say to me, like, yeah, man, like, this team is exciting and fun to watch. It's great that they work hard and we don't have to talk about, like on the morning after, like talking about how Don didn't want to play defense or Don and Rudy have issues or like all that negative stuff. Like, it's nice not to have to talk about all that stuff. And I think that it is, it's refreshing. And I think that, like I said, after game 1, when they won that game, like, hey, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Obviously, they are going to come back to earth. They're not going to play 800 basketball the whole season. But, even when they lose, they are working hard. They're playing hard. They're playing a team brand of basketball. Like, that, I think, is a big win for the fan base, and obviously it goes without saying, like, it helps to win in this new rebrand that you did, because obviously, the rebrand didn't go over great, as we've talked about a million times. So when you're winning and you're playing well, it tends to make the highlighter yellow jersey look a little better, and I think, and I'm not even joking, I think that really matters. It can really further what you're trying to do as an organization.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I just think that overall they're in the best place that they can be, I guess. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say that this team is somehow a Western Conference contender or something, because I don't think that they are. I think that they're definitely a play-in team if they play this way the whole year, and I definitely think that they could, if they were to get a key, deadline edition, or they were able to, continue to improve as a group, or just get better as the year goes on. Yeah, maybe you can push to a 6 seed maybe and get out of the 7-6 seed, get out of the play-in. But like, that's where I think this team is at, and I just think it's real positive for Jazz fans to be able to say, yeah, like, we don't know if they're gonna win. We're probably not gonna win a championship, but it's still fun to go to Jazz games because they're not some like garbage Oklahoma City, Orlando Magic level team. That's what I think the big win is right now.
Yeah, and I think the big win is that you feel good. It's fun to be a Jazz fan again, right? I mean, to me, that is the biggest deal. And I think when you look at where the Utah Jazz are, I just think you as a fan can't be anything but thrilled for this team. I mean, it is truly one of those things where you're in a position to, in my opinion, and this is just me, Jake, but in my opinion, I think you're in a position to, what's the right way to say this? You're in a position to compete for everything that you've wanted. You're in a position, if you're the Utah Jazz, to compete for a playoff spot. You're selling jerseys again, right? Because it's good. Who didn't love that floor last night, by the way? I absolutely loved that floor last night, and I think it's one of those deals where when you look at the Utah Jazz and you start to figure out where that is, you realize that that's in the middle of the Jazzosphere. Is that a word, Jazzosphere? I think that is a word, but it's in the middle of the Jazzosphere. It looked great. In my mind, I thought the floor was the biggest part of last night outside of the win.
Yep.
The black jersey looks fire, in my opinion. I absolutely love that. So I'm a huge fan of that black jersey, but I just feel like last night was another good night for this basketball team.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that, it's nice that the storylines and the talking points are who's going to start on this team, who how far can this team go? Like who are we going to add? Like, you notice that it's like mostly positive. That's what I think is really nice. And I think that it's a luxury that you shouldn't get used to. Don't take this time for granted. Like, really enjoy it, really soak it in, and we'll see. I think that the timeline we've been talking about for a long time, like where it's a 2-year sort of turnaround, I think is spot on based on what we're seeing. So yeah, I think it's a great time.
Yeah, we'll see. 109, 101, and again, they play in Denver tomorrow night. I mean, you beat Denver once already. I mean, I don't know what the ultimate end result is, but Denver's pretty good. I think it's asking a lot to go to Denver and win, but clearly stranger things have happened on this team, and I think it's going to be very interesting to see how this all plays out. They're not going to play 800 basketball the rest of the year. It's just not going to happen.
That's not happening.
If this team wins 40 to 45 games, I think you've absolutely shocked the world. I think without question, you have absolutely shocked the world.
Yeah.
So I think that's awesome. And I also think one of the other big stories in sports this morning is the LA Lakers lost again. They are 0-4. They are winless on this season. And I think as we look at trends in the NBA here on the Monty Show, I think when you look at some of the outcomes, that Ben Simmons thing last night has to be talked about. I mean, did you see that? You probably didn't see it. Jake was otherwise intertwined last night.
Right.
But the point is that Kyrie Irving yelled at Ben Simmons, "Shoot the ball, Ben!" In the middle of the lane. Now, to his credit, Ben kicked it out to a wide open Kevin Durant, which is never bad. But I think Brooklyn's very interesting. Mm-hmm. Are they finding their way? Is that a team that you believe can? Yeah, where are you at with Brooklyn?
I mean, on some level, I think that you can't fix Ben Simmons not like instinctually not just going up. When he's standing in the middle of the paint. Like I think, I did see the highlight on Instagram of Kyrie yelling at him, and I think that it's unfortunate that Ben Simmons instinctually doesn't just go up with that ball because he is 6'10" and he does have size, and that probably is a really high percentage look. You're at a minimum probably getting fouled, right? But to me,
he only took 7 shots, 2 of 7, 4 points.
Yeah,
but 9 dimes, 5 rebounds, a block. Unbelievable defense at times on Giannis.
Yeah, I mean, clearly, he's another guy where the stat sheet doesn't always show his impact on the game, obviously, and I think. Yeah, I think they're finding their way, but I as I said before the season started, I don't think it's going to be easy. I don't think that, the people saying you're just going to stick these guys out there and it's just going to work itself out. That's not how it works in the NBA, man. You got to play games.
But I think Brooklyn is showing signs of breaking out of some of their awkwardness. I again will just say I don't know that you have enough in your starting lineup. You're better defensively. There's no doubt about that. They lose last night 110-99. You only gave up 110 points to Milwaukee, right? So I feel like you're better. I mean, there's nothing other than to say that Giannis had 43 points last night. I mean, that's why they won the game.
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like Brooklyn's better. I mean, and I think much to James Knight's point, Milwaukee's going to be a very good team this year. I think, now that Milwaukee has No, I'm not going to do it because I like Joe Ingles.
Don't do it.
I like Joe Ingles
it.
a lot. He is not available to them at this point, but
yeah, I just think that Brooklyn has to just keep playing games, dude. Just keep playing games, keep figuring out the chemistry. You're clearly like this year, you're already off to a better start than you were last year when it was, James Harden and Kyrie and Kevin Durant. Like, I feel like it's already off to a better start. There are going to be growing pains. You just need to understand that. Things are like, there will be growing pains. And I think that the things they got to stay away from are that real prideful happening or circumstance in the locker room. Like any type of locker room issues or personnel issues, those have to be sorted out for this team to make it.
Dude, look at my guy, Little Gup Gup. Okay, or excuse me. Look at my guy, Lil. L-I-L, Lil Gup Gup. It definitely will end in doom and gloom. However, this first week has been fun. What? Why would it end in doom and gloom? I think this team is built to last. Honestly, I mean, their style of basketball is not hard to replicate.
I don't know if he's talking about the Jazz and the Nets. He may be talking about the Jazz.
He's talking about the Jazz because it will end in doom and gloom.
Yeah.
This first week has been fun. It's not been fun for Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Trust me. It's not been fun. The Nye guy says that THT dunk was nasty. That was his best. I think, having watched a lot of him with the Lakers, I think that's arguably his best game in the last probably year of basketball.
Yeah.
I mean, he played really, really well. Carlin the Favor says it's refreshing to see the Jazz get out and run. It is. Jeremy Severi, why can I not say that right? It's Severe. Jeremy Severe says, where are the Jazz after 20 games? I'm going 13-7. Well, you're a 20-game guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think that...
And I say that because Jake says every 20 games.
Yeah, I'm a big believer that you play in 20-game stretches in the NBA. You'll have a team that goes, 2-18, and then they'll play 900 basketball for 20 games. And, that's kind of how the league works. And, yeah, 13-7 after 20 games would be awesome. Obviously, that would be phenomenal. To be honest with you, I don't know if you pull up their schedule. I haven't dug deep into this portion of their schedule. But
there's some interesting stretches coming up.
Yeah, obviously you're going to play some good teams, and I would think they're probably a little closer to 500 than 13-7. If I'm being honest, but we'll see. I would. Yeah, I don't know.
Denver at Denver. Friday, Saturday, Memphis, Monday, Memphis, at Dallas, at LA, home for LA. So Lakers, Clippers in LA, Lakers at home, at Atlanta, at Washington, at Philly.
Yeah.
New York, Phoenix, at Portland, at the Clippers versus Detroit, at Golden State, at Phoenix, home for Chicago, and then home for the Clippers to end November.
Yeah, so there are definitely some wins there. I think they will beat the Lakers. I think teams like Denver, Memphis, the really good teams like Dallas, I think the turnovers that this team commits, they will pay a price against those better teams, and that's probably where they lose some games because of all the turnovers. But, yeah, I mean, if you're asking me for a prediction, I would say you're probably, I would expect you to have, at least 11 wins.
I'd expect you to be 500 after 20 games.
Yeah.
I would think that you'll be, 10-10. I wouldn't 12-8. I mean, I could see that, but I mean, there's, like I said, I was looking at this last night. The 20th game, I think, is versus Detroit on November 23rd. But I mean, I have a hard time seeing you go to Denver and win. Memphis is just flipping phenomenal. You play them back-to-back Saturday and Monday. You can win in Dallas. You can win with the Lakers. I don't see you beating the Clippers. I think you could beat the Lakers again. Atlanta, Washington. I don't understand Philadelphia. That's a team that's shockingly bad.
Yeah.
And it's not the funny thing is, it's not James Harden. It's not Joe. It's the rest of that group and shot making that is so tragically bad. Mrs. Monty and I were sitting on the couch last night watching some of the Sixer Toronto game, and I'm just watching Tyrese Maxey knock it down, and he had 31 points last night. But Tobias Harris was terrible last night.
Yeah,
he's the highest paid guy on that roster, I think, and he was terrible.
Yeah,
again. And I look at PJ Tucker. I don't know where that dude went. because he was terrible last night. And I look at Embiid and Maxey at 31, James Harden, 3 of 6 from 3, 18 points with 7 boards and 9 dimes. He was really effective last night.
Yeah.
That's what you need from him. But you got nothing off your bench. Niang, House, Reed, Harrell, like Montrezl Harrell. I didn't even realize that Montrezl Harrell was on that team. Like, I think Doc Rivers, if I was doing like a dead list, Doc Rivers would be on that list. Like, I think he is in. Dude, that's a team that's supposed to compete for the Eastern Conference, and you're not good. Like, you are 1-4, and you have not been close to winning on the road.
Yeah.
I mean,
I just think it's the Sixers are. So I say I'm not going to believe in the Sixers until they show me that they're an actual power.
Yeah, and their only win is over the Pacers.
Yeah.
And your mom's better than the Pacers.
Yeah, and I think that, I also think it's early in the year.
But
like, obviously you can overcome some of these woes, but I think that you can't get off to a, like a 2-10 start. That's not going to work.
If you have 1 or no wins at this point, you're about 20% to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's how good the league has become. And I look at Philly. Dude, I think that's one of the absolute shocking trends.
Yeah, they're disappointing for sure.
Without a doubt. I think Cleveland last night, and you want to know why you should be pissed they traded Donovan Mitchell? Did anybody see Cleveland last night?
He's for real, man.
He had his worst game as a Cleveland Cavalier. By the way, Anthony is out for Orlando. I don't know how many people saw that. He has either a torn or ruptured oblique muscle.
Ruptured.
Yeah, that's never good. But if you look at their roster and you look at what Donnie did last night, 14 points on 1 of 7 from 3. Okay, they lost, right? No, they didn't lose. They won. They beat Orlando. And it's because he is, in my opinion, making guys like Dean Wade significantly better. And he's moving the basketball. Donovan Mitchell last night, 1 of 7 from 3, 5 of 19 from the floor. 14 points, 8 dimes, 4 boards, 2 steals, 1 turnover.
Yeah.
He's better. He is significantly better.
Yeah, and he can shoot it.
And he can really shoot it.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, that Cleveland team is going to be a problem because Evan Mobley looked like that dude last night.
Yeah, and I think the thing with Don that is really impressing me is I know that we always talk about his defense and how that's got to improve, and it has improved.
It has improved.
But the passing is what's really impressing me. Like, you're starting to see that in a fresh face, or in a fresh situation, with new faces, new voices, new teammates, feels good. Mentally, he's in a good place. You're starting to see ball movement, and I think that it's really unfortunate because I think that what it says to me is that the Jazz team that we all knew and loved with Don and Rudy could have been way better. If they were in a better mental place, I think that team could have been NBA Finals caliber if the passing would have been there, if the right mentality would have been there. Because he's passing, basketballs to the corner from the strong side elbow, and they're knocking those down. And that's not even as good a shooter as Bogdanovich was, right? So if he's doing that in Cleveland, what would that look like in Utah? That's what I'm saying. I think it was hasty to trade him. I think that I'm not going to sit here and say it was a mistake. They had their reasons. They chose the path they did. But I just wonder, man, if he can pass this way and draw the defense like that, why weren't we seeing that? And the only thing I can think is because it wasn't in the scheme. It was not in the playbook.
And what is this for Donovan Mitchell? This is a prove-it year. This is a prove-it year for Donnie. I think this is one of the most important years of his career to date.
Yeah.
And it's because he is going to take a lot of the blame for what happened in Utah. And I think when you look at Rudy in Minneapolis, I think they're also very awkward. And I think that Rudy Gobert could be the end for Karl Anthony Towns in Minnesota. Because Karl Anthony Towns, much like Anthony Davis in LA, Jake, Karl Anthony Towns is not a 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I will just say he forgot that there's a defensive end of the floor when you play the power forward.
Yeah.
And I don't know how he matches up with some of the power forwards in this league. He doesn't. And so you can't, in my opinion, reasonably believe that you can play Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert on the floor at the same time.
Yeah, and that's a problem when you are paying these guys, $100 million a year collectively. Like, that's not going to work.
Between the two of them, I think it's next season they will each average $50 million. They'll be paying them $100 million.
Yeah. Yep.
To two guys.
Yep.
And do you see them as a championship caliber team this year?
Not right this second. I mean, obviously they're a playoff team. Obviously they're a team that is going to get their chance. But I think to be a championship contender, to be something that is special, like they're going to have to figure out how to work that offense and how to play as a team. And what's becoming so evident with the way the Jazz are playing right now is that if you play team basketball, you're going to beat some good teams. Like if you're playing with pace and you're moving the ball, you're going to beat teams.
I agree.
And I think that's what I see as the real problem for the T-Wolves right now is you're not going to have great ball movement with 2 7-footers on the floor at the same time.
And Chaboy, Anthony Edwards is going to have to be huge for them.
Yeah.
D'Angelo is going to have to be huge for them.
Yeah.
I think you're asking a lot out of a lot of guys that frankly, when you're paying those two dudes $100 million, Rudy Gobert has to carry an offensive load for them, and that's terrifying if you're a Minnesota fan. I think there are too many fans that here that know that. I think somebody talked about accountability. Where is it? Right there. Josh Lovering, Cat holding Ant accountable on his diet too. Well, there's a lot of people who think you shouldn't have done that. Karl Anthony Towns talked about the fact that Anthony Edwards eats a ton of fried chicken. Like, I guess that's a staple in his diet.
Yeah.
And Kat said, we're professional athletes. We can't eat that way.
Yeah.
And it did not go over well, surprisingly, because you would think that would. It did not. It did not go over well at all. Tyler P. says Cavs will be a second-round team at best. No, I don't think so. Because they're actually playing defense. They're actually playing really solid defense. And Evan Mobley, I just think Evan Mobley is a better player this year than he was last year.
Yeah, and
I think
development there, yeah.
I think Donnie has a lot to do with that. I really do. Carlin Lefevre says Don's one-handed rebound last night was nasty. Did you guys see the dunk?
Yeah.
The tomahawk from the top of the circle?
Yeah, dude.
He looks unbelievable. Jeremy Bolton says classic regular season Donnie. Yeah, we'll see, right? Pablo was that dude last night. Paolo Banchero is a stud.
Yeah.
Like he
makes it look easy. I mean, he makes it look easy. He's got a great body for the NBA. He's got a great feel in the mid-range. Like he's what you want. Like that's what I'm saying. Like you know NBA studs in the draft when you see them.
But is Cole Anthony that guy? Because I think Paolo Banchero needs a running mate.
Yeah, I don't think that Cole Anthony necessarily is a championship caliber running mate. I think Cole Anthony is a guy who has a place on a championship caliber team. Like I think that he could be, a point guard on a championship contender. Definitely. But
they just don't have depth.
Yeah, I mean, like that's the problem. Like I don't think he can be the second pillar of a duo.
Well, him and Wagner are. I think Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner are. That's a decent one, too. But Wendell Carter's not a star.
Yeah.
I mean, they need a guard who can be that guy.
Yeah.
And Cole Anthony is supposed to be that guy. But, is Ross that guy? I mean, Anthony last night plays 32 minutes, 1 of 5 from 3 for 9 points. And then ruptures come on. I mean, like, he ain't that dude. Like, I think Paolo Banchero is. And again, I keep receipts, MFs. I keep them receipts.
Right.
Paolo Banchero should have been the number 1 pick in the draft.
Yeah.
And I would hope that you would back me up.
Yeah. No, I agree.
That I say,
yeah,
this guy, the good-looking one, said,
right.
Right. Paolo Banchero, that dude. So for me, anyway, I think it's really interesting to see how all that works out. Let's see. Brent Burnett, Jazz could be 60-plus win team, which would continue the surprise. Okay, no. See, this is what you can't do. Mm-hmm. You can't be, Jazz are going to win 60 games. They're
not doing that.
They're not doing that. But we are doing football at 50, 10 of the hour, every hour. On the Monty Show, we talk about the biggest stories in football, presented by Papa Murphy's Pizza. Last weekend for the Jacko Pizza. Tonight at Casa de Montmayor. Hey, Monty. We are going to... Somebody said that to me yesterday. I chuckled. Hey, Monty.
Hey, Monty.
We are doing the Jacko Pizza tonight at Casa de Monte. And we encourage you to do that as well. Make sure you use the promo code Monty25 to get 25% off your purchase of $25 or more. Of course, the Utah Utes take on the Washington State Cougars. Pullman, Washington.
Yeah.
Out in the middle of nowhere, eastern Washington State. I don't know why I was channeling Dave Chappelle right there, but I was.
Okay.
Anyway, the point is Pullman, Washington, where dreams go to die. I think that's actually on a billboard somewhere. Like that's their.
Yeah, it's like in the gate when you walk in. It says where you come for dreams to die.
Yeah, the Pullman Bureau of Tourism, where dreams come to die. Pullman, Washington. The Utes are a full 7-point favorite tonight, Jake.
Yeah.
Coming up in 6 minutes, we will give you a lock on that game. Positive, negative, like. How
I
are
think
you feeling on that?
Positive. I think that it's going to be really tight. Like I think. I'm obviously encouraged that you're coming off of a bye. You know, you should be very prepared. Like, you shouldn't be surprised by really anything tonight. At the same time, it's still Pullman. It's still going to be cold. It's still a tough game. You're on the road at night. Like, that's not an easy thing to do. But I think it's a close game. So, yeah, I mean, I think the Utes win, but I think it's really close.
Yeah, I think I am far more worried about BYU, which is why Gabe Judy-Lally will join us at 8:30. Stick around for that. Or 8:40-ish, I think. 8:40. Who knows? I don't know what I'm doing. The point is, Gabe Judy-Lally will join us. We'll talk BYU football. But I feel pretty confident. I feel less confident that Tommy and Jizzy are going to make it. Gisele's Bunchton.
Right.
Dropping ultimatums on Tommy, according to, I believe it was Us Weekly. You're home for Tom Brady's marriage news. Where I don't know, dude. I don't know. Gisele Bunchton, according to sources close to her Bunchton, Gisele has given Tommy an ultimatum. You either quit football and we stay together, or I'm dumping that A. I'm taking a kiss and we out. So again, we'll just go back to the Gisele and Tommy question.
Yeah.
Who's to blame here? See, now I kind of think I've evolved as a man. My brain has maturated and matriculated into different machinations.
Right.
I can see Gisele's point. I think Gisele has said to Tom, I'm really worried that you're going to get more concussions. She claims he's had many, many concussions. She is worried about his cranium.
Yeah.
She is worried about him physically not being able to take care of her or the kids, which is a legitimate fear when your husband's 40-something years old and he's playing in the NFL. But I can see Tommy's side of this as well. You don't tell me when to stop playing a kid's game for millions of dollars a year.
Yeah.
Her point is, well, you can still be around the kid's game because you have a contract, a TV contract, right? I don't know. I guess I don't put fault, but if I'm Tom Brady, I don't stop playing, and if I'm Gisele, I don't come off of my ultimatum.
Yeah, I think, and that's what I'm saying. I think it's tough. Like, I think I understand Tom's position. I also understand Gisele's position. I understand where they both are on it,
oh God.
Uh-oh. What? Oh.
Mrs. Monty would like to make her debut at the Maverick Center studio.
Well, please, by all means.
Here we go. There she goes, walking by in her smoking hot Jordans.
Okay, so we got to dial in the camera.
So we got to dial in the camera.
We got to dial in the camera here.
And there's me. There's Mrs.
Hello.
Monty.
Hello.
Hello.
Jeez. Hi.
Oh, geez. Hi.
And you know what? You know what you've completely neglected for me?
What's that?
Completely neglected?
Oh, are we talking our marriage or something else?
A headset.
Headphones? Deal with it. You'll live.
Wow.
I haven't found...
And this is exactly what Gisele said to Tommy. Deal with it.
It's not Tommy.
You'll
It's
live.
Tommy, please.
Tommy?
It's Tommy, please.
Tommy?
Where are you at on Tommy versus Jizzy?
I think that as this story has developed, people are seeing that she's not just being a jerk.
Yeah, she is.
Like, hey, you don't know what's happening in their private life. There's probably already signs that he is suffering from the effects of multiple concussions.
Babe. We don't talk about ED. We don't talk about ED on this show. That's the other station.
Not the little head, the big head.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
Yeah.
I assumed.
Yeah. Anyways. But, I think that everybody was like, oh, how dare she? in a marriage, you're supposed to be a partnership.
Mm-hmm.
And she should have been able to say to him, hey, I'm concerned for your health. And he probably at one point said, yeah, I'm going to retire. Then he was like, nah, I'm not going to retire. And she's like, you need to retire. Okay, I'll retire next year. No, I'm not going to retire. He's obviously probably addicted to the position that he's in as a quarterback, right?
Yeah.
Very powerful. He has had a ton of success. It becomes very difficult to walk away.
I agree. But isn't that the game that we play as men? Because I think this is something we all deal with. We all want to play a kid's game as long as we can play a kid's game.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's I think the difficult part is like for Tom, he's kind of breaking ground on, playing deep into your 40s and like he's doing some things, but at what cost? That's the tough part.
Yeah, that's the biggest question. Football at 50, 10 to the hour, every hour, presented by Papa Murphy's Pizza.
911, what's your emergency?
Something is in my house.
I'm sorry, say again?
I smell something delicious and I don't know what it is.
Ma'am, can you describe it for me?
It smells like golden crust, freshly shredded cheese, and pepperoni.
Ma'am, we've traced the smell, and it's coming from inside your oven.
What do you mean?
It's a Papa Murphy's Jacko pizza, and it's just $10.
Ah, amazing.
Papa Murphy's.
Just admit it. You're going to miss that commercial.
Yep.
Papa Murphy's.
You are going to miss that commercial. There is no doubt about that you will absolutely. Papa Murphy's Pizza. Use the promo code Monty25 and make sure you get that Jacko pizza this weekend. We're ordering tonight.
Yeah.
Because after the show tomorrow, we jet off to Boise. As the Grizzlies and the Idaho Steelheads will be on YouTube. Make sure you go and find the Utah Grizzlies YouTube channel. Hit subscribe because you can hear me and the great Tyson Whiting call the game on Friday and Saturday on YouTube. But don't forget Gabe Judy-Lawley from BYU is coming up on the show in about 40 minutes after they lift. Stick around for that. This show is presented by the Advocates, UtahAdvocates.com. Been in a wreck? Got hurt at work? Need an injury attorney? Are you wondering if you need an attorney? By the way, did you know that if you're wondering if you need an attorney, you need an attorney? So get to UtahAdvocates.com. You can chat with them right now on their website, UtahAdvocates.com. It's free. You don't pay consultation fees or retainers. Please do not rely on your insurance company. Like if you got hurt at work, Workman's Comp Insurance is not there to protect you. They're not. They're there to make their own money and keep as much money as possible. That's why you go to the Advocates. UtahAdvocates.com, where you know that you never pay until they win your case. Let's talk about this marriage thing with Tom and Giselle, because I see a lot of people commenting on this.
Yeah.
And it is amazing to me that you have all of these questions about marriage. And I think this is one of those things, by the way, that we all deal with career-wise. Like Jake and I just made a huge career change, and Mrs. Monty was heavily involved in that. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Mrs. Monty, by decree of the state, gets part of what I make.
And
stuff.
Right.
Good morning. Anyway, she was involved in that pretty significantly. But I don't think it's easy. Marriage is not easy, right? Relationships are not easy.
No, they're not.
Anyway, we're not allowed to talk about it. Anyway, we'll move on. And the point is...
Dude, we can talk about it, but you can't mock me about it. That's like...
How have I mocked you?
I'm happy to talk about it.
I have not mocked you at all.
You do.
How?
Oh, boy.
Bro,
what?
You do.
What?
It was literally like 20 minutes later that he was mocking you about
That's
it.
That's a lie. That is just not factually accurate.
What?
It was like 25 minutes. I was sending him gifts of...
Like 22 and a half minutes.
So Jake is no longer relationshiped.
Yes.
He is no longer commingling his funds.
Right.
You are single. You are,
Yes.
You are a man of forearm skill.
Right.
At this moment. And it is true that like 30 minutes after you broke up, I did send you a dog humping a pool toy.
Right.
I mean, I admit that I did that.
Right.
And it was funny. Tell people it was funny.
It was funny. It was, But.
Jake and I are in an Instagram group chat with another one of his friends, and I sent a poodle or a chihuahua humping a pool toy. I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
But relationships are difficult. I mean, it is, when you look at this Tom and Giselle thing, look at this Kanye thing. If you didn't hear the latest on Ye, he quite literally showed up unannounced at Skechers yesterday, and he was escorted off the property.
Yeah.
That is a Jewish-owned business. And
Which it doesn't seem like he was aware of, by the way.
I think very clearly.
He was aware of it at all.
I think very clearly he was not aware of that. And I think very clearly they did not want him there.
Yeah.
He brought a film crew because he documents his reality, everything he does.
Yeah.
He brought a film crew, and they escorted him off. And then they released another statement where they condemned what he said, and they said that they will never work with him. If you're Kanye West, that's one thing. But if you're Kim Kardashian and you're the mother of his children, that's got to be incredibly difficult.
Yeah, I think it's frustrating. I think it makes you feel like you made a mistake. It makes you feel like you made a bad choice, and it's hard to see. Like in the moment, like it's hard to see. Sometimes like when you're making a mistake or when something isn't going to work out, because it feels great. It does. That's how life works, And so now it's like, who could have projected that Kanye was going to go off the reservation here and do what he's doing? Like, I don't know.
Me, I could have predicted that 100%.
Did you write on your hand?
No.
That's your ring. My bad. I thought you had ink on your hand. I was like, children, what are you doing?
What? I got a hand tattoo last night. I just didn't want to tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, I think 100% you can predict that. I had a good friend in high school who was bipolar. Mm-hmm. Very creative, wonderful artist. And she really struggled with staying on her meds because when she was off her meds, she was super manic, super creative, like could go for days. But it always ends up crashing.
Yeah.
And if anyone, even if you're not bipolar, anyone needs to have someone in their life that they trust that can help them pump the brakes. And I think Kim did that for a long time with Kanye. Like, hey, you got to be taking care of yourself, whatever that looks like, whether it's medicine or whatever. But you also can't be making an ass of yourself. Mm-hmm. And what have we seen since they split? It's been a continuous spiral, and it's going downhill.
Yes. Yep.
This Skechers thing does not surprise me at all.
It doesn't. Not even I am shocked that he showed up. He knows that Skechers is a Jewish-owned company. How do you not know?
He may.
He has to.
He may not have. He doesn't care. That's the thing.
Well, that might be the thing.
When you are in that state where I'm sure that he's got this manicness that's happening, where he is not focusing and all he's trying to do is grab onto things, and there's no one who can stop him. I'm sure that he probably told his agent or whoever does what management they can for him, don't ever try to stop me.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, I'm telling you it's not a good choice, but go ahead because
more power to you, bud.
Right? That's usually how
But now his managers fired him as well. CAA fired him. He doesn't have an agent. Like his Donda agency is falling apart. Anyway, all of this to say Jake is single because now everybody is asking about your relationship, Jake, and everybody thinks I'm bullying you into talking about it.
Okay, well, what are the questions? What are they asking?
Why are you single? Jake is now single. Jake doesn't want to. Tanner says Jake doesn't want to talk about it in a public setting, which I respect.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to get into specifics about it. I can tell you that right now. But I think this it's funny. This Kanye thing is, I think is really interesting when you compare it to my situation, and I think that what we do is a grind. I've said that to you guys many times. Like we work probably. I mean, I don't count the hours, but we're probably 60, 70 hours the last 6 weeks. Like, legit, and I think that it takes a toll. It's worth it. I'm not complaining, but like, if we're talking about the reality of the situation, it does take a toll. And I think that...
Yeah, it does.
I think that, in times in life when you're building something, again, without getting into specifics, it does require some extras, like extra support or extra, X factors that intangibles is the word I'm looking for. You need in your person, you need intangibles, and that, when you don't have those, there has to be conversations. So yeah, it's unfortunate. It's not fun to talk about. It's not certainly an ideal situation, but it's it's a business situation. Like it's not worth, sacrificing what we've done here, the investment we've made, in the long run.
Well, and I think this goes back to Tommy and Giselle too. I mean, I think that it's very hard to tell somebody to stop doing what they're passionate about. It's very difficult to tell somebody, no, you cannot do that, or it's come to an end, or, I mean, those are always, think about your marriage. I mean, those are always, right? I mean, if you think about it, I think those are always really difficult conversations to have inside of a marriage or inside of a relationship when you're trying to tell somebody, hey, you can no longer do what you want to do or what you've chosen to do for all these years.
Yeah.
It's
100%.
it's really difficult to do that. And I think when you look at Kanye, I think it's really, and I think, somebody said it's really difficult to watch. Teddy Wayman said, it sucks seeing Kanye go off the deep end.
Yeah.
It does suck seeing Kanye go off the deep end. And the hard part is, look at what he's giving up.
Yeah.
He's giving up his marriage. He's giving up his kids. He's giving up his career. He's giving up his business. We're watching it evaporate into nothing.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he's lost. Do you guys realize, to his mental illness, that he has lost billions of dollars now?
Yeah.
When you look at Adidas, you look at Foot Locker no longer selling his product. I can't remember the name of the brand. Something Insignia or whatever.
Balenciaga.
Yes, thank you. Walked away from Kanye. Just said, no, you're no longer. Please, and he still wore their clothes yesterday, but they've said to him, no, you're not designing for us anymore. You're not wearing our clothes anymore. We don't endorse you.
Yeah.
And the hard part is that all of these companies, Skechers yesterday, made like a really awfully difficult to digest, you're a really crappy human being.
Yeah.
Essentially is what they've said, not once, but now twice.
Yeah.
And all of these other companies are like, yeah, that guy's a terrible person. He's anti-Semitic. And imagine if you're Northwest, his daughter.
Yeah.
These videos are never going away.
No.
The things your dad said, and we could talk about the fact he's bipolar or whatever he allegedly is, whatever the mental disease he's dealing with, that's never going away. His life, his business, his family, that's all. You're just watching it melt away.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
It's absolutely brutal because by some accounts, and I think Mrs. Monty to a less of an extent, but I can tell you for me, absolutely, when I think of Kanye West, I think of the San Francisco Giants winning the World Series multiple times when I was there, because when you would go into the locker room in those Lincecum, Kane days, the Buster Posey teams, like you go into those locker rooms in 2011 after a game and they're banging the Jay-Z Kanye album. Mm-hmm. Like that's what the
throne.
That's what the music is in their so in the clubhouse for them. And you hear it everywhere, or you used to. And the hard thing is, the guy is a wonderfully talented artist who just cannot control himself.
Yep.
And it's brutal.
Yep.
And you look at Antonio Brown, much the same. You look at these guys who lose themselves to mental disease. It's impossible.
Yeah, it's
to
not
watch.
great.
And again, as we sit here and we talk about the biggest stories in sports, thanks to our friends at Quick Quack Car Wash, but we talk about these stories. Kanye West is one of the biggest stories in sports.
Absolutely.
When you have a guy like Jaylen Brown of the Celtics, Aaron Donald, arguably the best defensive player in the NFL, walking away from his representation firm, Donda Sports, which is Kanye West's firm.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's shockwaves.
But if you're Kim Kardashian, how long do you go before you just walk away from him? Like, how long should she have tried? Like, I don't have any idea.
I don't think you can put a stamp on it. Like, it's tough.
And we don't know how long she, how everything she did do. But I would guess that she really tried for a long time. And Northwest is not surprised by this.
Yeah.
No.
The families know what it's like. And I think that Kim tried to control it and help as much as she could, but he doesn't want to be controlled. And he's gone through several stages in the last few years, believing that he is God. Seriously, that I'm not joking. So from having this godlike complex to now swinging, over towards this ultra conservative
anti-Semitism thing,
Christian nationalist,
but
kind of a thing. Like,
if you're Kim K, you're terrified of this dude. He sat in front of your house And like he threatened Pete Davidson's life while you guys were dating. Like, I mean, this is not. Yeah. I don't blame her. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I blame her because I don't.
Yeah.
But let's get some of your comments in here because a lot of people are asking. Fat Jesus and many other would like to know if you broke up over text.
Nope.
How'd you break up this time?
We talked about it
over
FaceTime.
There you go. Jerem Patterson says Giselle needs to take into account she married the GOAT. She has countless posts. I love your work ethic and competitiveness. Wait, but only when it's convenient. Sad she can't stand by him. I don't know that I agree with that.
Convenient is not the thing. Not only when it's convenient. If you love someone and you're watching them like badger, their like bodies are just being beaten up.
Boy, you're on this. You're on. You really think that she sees like cognitive decline? Cognitive.
I'm not saying that there's necessarily cognitive decline, but there is absolutely 100% that he has physical effects from playing football.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Has to.
Not
Has
a
to.
question.
Yeah.
Whether it be broken bones, whether it be, muscular.
Back pain, knee pain.
Everything.
He had major knee reconstruction at one point. Remember that against Cincinnati when they fell on his knee? Like he is... I mean, clearly, when honestly, I think he's 45 now, and he's playing in the NFL. Like you don't do that without neck, back, shoulder, knee pain. Like he spends obviously millions on his body, but I don't think it's her changing her mind or all of a sudden that she wants to be a stay-at-home mom. And
I don't think it's a matter of
facilitating
convenience.
that.
It's not a matter of convenience. I think she's
not at all
pulling the ripcord here and saying, hey, like. You've been playing for I don't know how many seasons it is now. I think he's past 20 now if I'm correct.
Yeah.
I feel like her point is valid when she says, "Hey, you've played a really long time." Now, I do agree like, hey, it's hard to tell someone that they can't keep doing what they love to do, but that's the the give and take of a relationship, and I think that they are both going to make their decision, and clearly Tom doesn't want to stop playing. But I do agree, like, Tom is not having a great year.
23 years in the NFL.
So 23 seasons.
45 years old and 85 days.
And he needs to figure out what's next. And I think that's what I infer from the situation. But
he's got a TV contract, though.
So here's the thing. Think about Dale Jr., right? He left racing because of the concussions. And he talked about how his family, his wife, saw the effects, and he's had less concussions.
Well, and but Dale's a really interesting, I'm glad you brought that up, because Dale also talked about brain damage from carbon monoxide in the car.
Yeah.
He talked about the fact he almost died in a Pro-Am race in a Corvette. He passed out and the car caught on fire. You look at all these things. I don't disagree with Giselle. The hard part here is I don't think either one of them is wrong.
Yeah.
I think in this Giselle-Tom Brady thing, I think they're both justified in their positions. If I'm Giselle, I don't want to be somebody's nursemaid I don't want to be Steve McMichael's wife. I don't want to be one of these guys. I don't want to be Junior Seau's family after he puts a shotgun to his chest and kills himself.
Horrible.
I don't want to be these guys that are dealing with ALS and Parkinson's disease because of brain damage. That's what happens. And I don't give a damn about helmet technology because I don't believe that helmet technology prevents that.
Yeah.
Even now, I don't think it prevents that. My point is, I agree with Giselle, but I agree with Tom. It's a game and I want to play it.
And that's how relationships are. And they
That's
have
right.
to work it out.
Yeah.
It's tough when it comes into the public eye and people are like, oh, how dare she? And, and I'm sure there's also on the other side, oh, how dare he? But, they have to figure that out. And we can't be the ones to say what's actually happening.
But by the way, how terrible is it that we and many others are sitting here debating their marriage and which one of them's the jerk who ruined it?
Well, I think that's the responsibility they have with the level they've gotten to.
Well, and I think it does. I think that comes with it. Obviously, I mean, when we're sitting here and we talk about this on a regular basis, but when we're sitting here debating people's marriages, and we're talking about like Kanye West, we're talking about a guy who's going crazy in front of the public view.
Yeah.
This is the Britney Spears shaving her head in the barbershop thing. Like, when you think about the way that we handle celebrities in this country, I think we're kind of dicks about it.
Yeah,
we think that they live in some petri dish or it's a reality show. Like Kanye West is a human being with kids who are going to watch this. Kanye West is a guy that we're watching going crazy, giving away his fortune to mental health. And I think it must be incredibly difficult. And I've never sided with a Kardashian one time in my life. It must be incredibly difficult to be Kim Kardashian watching all this play out on TV, on the internet, on Drudge Report, on Fox,
I just think
CNN.
that you can't like I would assume with the life that they live, they've been able mentally to like kind of build up a resilience to it on some level, you know, like you're a Kardashian.
But do you build up a resilience?
I think when you deal with something long enough, you know, I'm not saying it's certainly easy for them, but you know, I gotta think
did you say it's not easy for them?
I said no, I didn't, but that's pretty good.
It's not.
Yeah.
Right.
You see what
right.
I did?
What
there?
are the people saying?
What are the people saying?
Yeah.
Let's see. Giggity says the only thing Jake needs to address is whether text messaging was utilized in the breakup. No, it was not.
Nope.
Again, why everybody? I've probably driven that narrative too much.
Yeah.
You rightfully broke over. Let's go, and we should probably clarify this.
Yeah.
Your previous relationship that you destroyed. Well, it's the you know.
Right. Yeah.
No, the breakup over text, in all seriousness, was the exact right way to break up because you know, I mean, murder is never what you want the outcome to be. And that girl was crazy.
Yeah.
That girl. She still DMs you though, by the way,
from time to time.
Do you answer?
No.
Wow. Are you? So you're also the guy who doesn't keep in touch with his exes, though. Mm-hmm. You're not that dude.
Yeah, I'm not cold-blooded about it, but I just think I'm too nice, you know. So like, I know if I like,
you are.
Thanks.
No, but it's not a bad. It's a good. It's a blessing and a curse.
You're right. Yeah.
No, I'm being serious. I'm not even being bully dick as I usually am.
Yeah.
It's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
You don't often say no to people. If somebody asks you for something and you can reasonably do it, you're going to say yes.
Yeah.
And you actually care about other people. You will put other people in front of your best decision. Instead, you will put other people in front of what's best for you. You will sleep less to accommodate other people's requests of you.
Yeah.
And it's a blessing and a curse.
I'm not ruthless. I'm not cold-blooded. And so as far as talking to people, like it becomes difficult for me because if I talk to people and I keep them around, like the feelings stay around, you know? And it's like, it's a miserable place to be.
And one of those last ones, you were hanging on.
Yeah, it's tough, dude. Like it's not easy, man. Like it's not like again, this goes
easy.
right down the rabbit hole of like it's not easy to find someone anymore.
No,
you know?
I agree. Tanner says, yes, Jake, we do need to know if you broke up with her over text. Let's see. Eminem says a man has to grind for 20 to 30-year-olds, and most women don't get that. Men have to become, and women just are. Ooh, I don't see.
Wait. Read this again.
A man has to grind for 20 to 30 years, and most women don't get that. Men have to become, women just are.
Who said that?
Eminem said that.
Eminem.
Yeah.
Let's have a chat. I don't know what world you live in, but I've been grinding for 30 years, and I never was given an opportunity. I think that men are given more opportunities, and women have to grind. We're expected to do things, and we are not given things easily. Eminem, that you either need to explain yourself or maybe you need to take a look at what you think because that's horrible to say.
Yeah, I don't agree with that at all.
I do agree that there's been a lot of, responsibilities put on men through generations because they also put responsibilities on women to have to raise children. But sorry.
Well, I also think one of the responsibilities that we as men have is to fire up the smoker at Barbecue Pit Stop, bbqpitstop.com.
Because I will grill Eminem.
You will? Oh.
Right now.
Put a little Sato seasoning on it.
That's right.
Look at you snarling. Barbecue Pit Stop, bbqpitstop.com. Those are our dudes. Like they have been on. They're one of the first people that jumped on this show. I have known the guys at Barbecue Pit Stop since my days.
Steve Clinton.
Yeah, since our days back at 1320 K-Fan, the sports leader. We've known those guys for years, and they've only gotten better. And they're small business owners. They're good at what they do. They're good people to do business with in Layton, Lehigh, St. George, Logan, and of course our good friends in Salt Lake City, otherwise known as Murray, on State Street. Stop by their stores. Like tonight, we're going to put our Papa Murphy's Pizza, our take and bake Papa Murphy's, on the Traeger Ironwood 885 that we got at Barbecue Pit Stop. We're going to hook it up. We have got last time we were in, we saw Steve and the guys in Lehigh. We got these cherry pellets that make the pizza so good because the flavor of the pellet absolutely matters.
Yeah.
We love the cherry pellets for the pizza. Got that there. The asado seasoning. Got that there. I mean, like anything you need. And now most of their stores have huge butcher shops. Like if you go into the store up in Logan, when you're done wiping away the Aggie tears, you go into the Barbecue Pit Stop up in Logan.
That store's crazy, bro.
It's huge. And they have a full-time butcher
Yeah.
on staff at the Barbecue Pit Stop in Logan. Like that. They're just awesome people to do business with. That's why you go to Barbecue Pit Stop. When you go in there or when you get on barbecuepitstop.com and chat with those guys, make sure you tell them you heard it on the Monty Show. We appreciate your support with that. And yeah, they can answer questions for you. But again, the best seasoning I've ever run across is the asado seasoning.
Facts.
And I will again put up the picture for you because I think it's that important.
Flavor Knuckles
asado seasoning is absolutely the bomb. Like on wings, on burgers, on steaks, you name it, you can do it. If you're a brisket guy, and I know this time of year there's a ton of obviously venison, deer, moose going up on the smokers. They have all kinds of rubs, marinades, sauces, you name it, you need it, you get it at Barbecue Pit Stop, bbqpitstop.com. Make sure you tell them you heard it on the show. Salty Drunk says, geez, Monty, you've changed your tune. You had her hitting the pavement at the start of the show. No, I think I can see both sides of it on Tom and Giselle now.
Mm-hmm.
Like it is, marriage is hard, dude. Like it is, and again, I'm speaking from personal experience. When you work with your wife, it's really difficult. But you know what the funny thing is? Mrs. Monty and I used to spend every day for 3-4 years, I guess it was 3 years, working right next to each other.
Yeah.
And now we don't do that. Like, I miss that. I miss us going to lunch together. I miss us, like, we pick each other up, like we both grinded. And like when you're in sales and you're in like a huge tech industry and you're going to have good days and bad days, but a lot of times if you have somebody be like, come on, you can do it, like, and you're supporting each other, like it makes a huge difference, and as Jake said before, when you have somebody not supporting your grind, it sucks. It makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyway,
Totally
I don't
agree.
think I've changed my,
Well, I think it's tough. At the beginning of the story, it's Giselle left Tommy, and she's the bad guy.
but we always victimize and this is going to sound like I'm advocating for women's rights. I'm not, even though I would, but now it's awkward. Anyway, the point is we always blame the woman. We always blame the woman. She was this, or like I think we throw the B word out way too often.
Bonnie, please.
Way too often when we call a woman a B, or like, do you understand the connotation that has? I think as men we're too aggressive with that. And I know that the three of us in this room would agree with that, but I just think it's too easy to do that. So yeah, I think we blame Giselle far too easily. Like it just is. Eminem says, I meant that Jake is in the grinding time of his life. He needs a ride or die woman.
Yeah, I mean, and that's tough. I think it's tough. Like, I'll be honest. I think it's not easy to find someone my age.
Wait a minute. Are you upset about this thing? Like, you seem usually when you have had breakups in the past.
I mean, I'm not upset that like. I'm not upset from the standpoint that I'm heartbroken. I'm upset that it's, it's just difficult to find someone. Like it is, there's only one top priority in my life. Like, and that's this, you know what I mean? Like there's not going to be another top priority for a while, and I think that you have to have like Nipsey Hussle said, before he passed a while back, like, you have to have vision. One of the people in your group has to have vision, and then everybody else can follow that vision. And I feel like when you can't see the vision and you just think that like there's a grind happening and you're just forgotten about, that's just unacceptable, and that's what's frustrating.
Yeah.
It's like I
totally,
like you put in all the work, you put in all the effort, you put in, like you're right. Like I have lost sleep over it. Like there have been nights where I've stayed up later to accommodate people and done things, and that's why it's frustrating.
Well, but I also think this whole thing, and I know we talk about it a lot, but like this whole thing is our existence right now. Like we have a massive financial investment in this platform and in the studio that we're sitting in. We have huge partners on the show, and when you don't have somebody that will grind with you, as we said before, and I think that was one of the hardest things. You've always said this about dating, though. Yeah. It's hard to find, particularly in your generation.
Yeah.
It's incredibly difficult to find somebody that will grind career-wise, grind for your own, but understand that, hey, there's going to be weekends where I'm not going to see you. There's going to be nights where, you know what, I fell asleep and we're not going to talk on the phone tonight.
Yeah.
Or we're not going to FaceTime tonight. Or you've always had that problem. That is not a new problem for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's not a new problem because this has been a journey, Like, that's the truth of it. Like, it's not, like, again, I'm not complaining, but you guys are getting insight into what this takes. Like, it takes, at 5 days a week, every day, getting up at 4 a.m. or what was 4:30 before we were here, for... we've been on YouTube for I think a year and a half now, I think it is, or something like that. And before that, we've been doing the show for 7 years, man. People have come and go, but the show is a priority, and I think that we're getting to a place now where we've come too far not to finish, and that for me is the thing, and I just think it's like you can't find commitment in my generation. People who are willing to see, something's being built. It takes commitment. It takes time. It takes effort and energy, and it is the number one in his life. And when you can't see that, that puts me in a no-win position.
Yep, Gabe Giuliani will join us here in about 10 minutes, talking BYU and East Carolina. Stick around for that, but let's get some of your comments in here. Tom Basilius is panicked. He says, guys, I can't find my AirPod case.
God damn it.
You gotta use,
when that happens.
Oh, it's the worst.
Yeah.
You got to use Find My. You got to use the Find My tool on your phone. Salty, I already read that one. Michael Peck says, nothing is conservative about anti-Semitism. It just seems conservatives get canceled more. This is not cancel culture.
No.
What's going on with Yeezy is not cancel culture. What's going on, listen, Kanye West is not being canceled. Kanye West is being held accountable for his words.
Yeah.
That's what this is. You don't get to do what he did and said and get away with it. NY Monty fan says, firing up the smoker tonight, chicken fajitas for the fam, homemade salsa and homemade avocado ranch. My goodness.
Homemade salsa.
My goodness. Jerome Patterson says, or Jerem Patterson says, Mrs. Monty, bring in the fire. I love it. I do too. Brett Burnett says, Jizzy making ultimatums. Those never seem to work. They don't.
Yeah.
They never, ever work. Ultimatums don't.
Yeah.
RRR says, Al Franken and that comedian whom obviously liked houseplants got canceled. I don't think they're canceling looks at your political views at all. I think Al Franken was politically canceled. I think he did, I think what Al Franken did he grope a woman? Yes, he did. Did he sexually harass a woman in the 80s? I'm sure he did. Is that right? No, it's completely wrong. He got canceled and exposed because he was going to run for president.
Yeah.
That's in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's cancel culture. Look at that. Caleb Harrison in the house. What's up? Caleb, you missed your time to shine. We were talking about whether pepperoni pizza is any good or not.
Yeah.
And as our resident pepperoni pizza expert, Deuce says first time getting 8 hours of sleep all week rather. I got to tell you, the last 2 nights I've never slept better. Like it has been amazing that it's cold, and it is way better. Holabilly says, same Jake. Just got out of a 5-year relationship. Hardest thing was giving my all and never receiving the same in return. Never again doing me from now on. Ooh.
Well, I think
didn't we have that conversation?
Yeah, I mean, but here's the thing: you can't expect other people to give, what you're willing to give, and that's certainly not what I expect out of other people. But I do expect a certain level. There's a certain level of empathy and understanding for what's happening that has to be kind of understood. And it's funny how. Again, without getting into specifics, it's funny how, the messaging kind of changes when, when things change. When you leave, the messaging kind of changes, and it's just funny how that works. And I think, yeah, being a genuine person and being nice and willing to take care of people is a great thing to have. But also, you know, it can be. I'm not going to say abused, but I think it can be taken for granted. And I think that's kind of the tough part. And I think there's a, you know, like when you're doing something like this, it's special. And not everyone deserves to be around it, and I think that you have to take that seriously.
Yeah, I don't even think that's you being arrogant saying that. I think that is the absolute truth. You have to, in my opinion, when you are dating, you have to make somebody earn that. You have to. You have to make somebody earn your time. You have to make somebody earn your trust. You have to make somebody has to earn the right to say goodnight to you. Somebody has to earn the right to say, hey, I love you. And for you to say to them, hey, I love you too. They have to earn that, as you have to earn from them. But I think in this day and age, you have to make people earn trust. Trust is no longer given. It is no longer assumed, right? Respect is always given and it's assumed until you have earned the right not to be respected.
Yeah.
But I think, in my opinion, when you're dating and you're at your age, I think you have to make somebody earn your time and your love.
Yeah, and I don't know. I kind of had a different experience this go around too. Like, I'm not as turned off by the idea of getting out there again. I don't know why. Like, I just am like, oh well, we'll see. You know, we'll see like what happens. You know, I think that I don't know why. Like the last go around, I was so turned off to it, but I was, and now I'm just like, all right, well, we'll see.
What do you? I'm sorry. Go ahead. How you moving? Hi.
But I think you're in a different place right now, right? Like you're here, you're around a lot more people. I think there's a lot more things happening. I think you're going to be exposed to a lot of people and have more opportunities to date more people.
Yes.
The pandemic just was so hard, and then coming out of it, trying to figure out like what the hell am I doing with my life, like. You know, I am not surprised that you're more open to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have a lot to offer. Ladies, he has a lot to offer.
Yeah, but that's what I always tell you. Do I not always tell you this?
Yeah,
You're a good catch. But
yeah.
I think it's awfully difficult to see the forest from the trees.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's very difficult. Anytime you go through a breakup, it screws up your vision. It screws up your trust of yourself. It plays with your self-confidence. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
The last one did. This one's not really like that for me. This one was a business decision. This one was this just has to be done. And I enjoyed my time. I did. But I think that this was one of those where it was going great. And then, you know, something happens and it just goes downhill super fast. And you can see the inevitable.
Which meant it wasn't going that great, by the way.
Yeah.
I think. Let's see. Whoa, a lot of comments. Deuce said, yeah, with me and Jake's generation, you have to earn people's attention. The online dating world has made it hard to keep people focused on one person.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, my
That's
goodness.
spot on.
Ain't that the truth? San Diego State Aztec says, when you're building something special, not everyone deserves to be around that. Damn, Jake. Pin that on the wall. But that's a truth. That is the truth.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna I just think that if you're gonna commit to something and you're gonna build something, you know, like not everybody deserves the opportunity. Like I think that's the case. I'm not just gonna let anybody be around it, and I'm happy to die on that hill, like I am.
Jerem Patterson says Jake Giselle should be on the market soon.
Yeah,
I mean, I tell you to hold out.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Giselle's punched in would be nice.
Yeah.
You know, and I agree with Eminem. Dating is tough in Utah, especially if you're not LDS, and I am LDS, and it's tough. And you're not LDS, Jake. Like, I mean, that's the hard part too. Like, and it's funny, we were talking about this. Do you date women who are formerly LDS?
I think it depends on the situation. That is very touch and go. I think that's very like, you know, depends where they're at with it.
Yeah.
How long has it been? Are like
how close are they with their family?
Yeah, like I think it really just depends on their situation.
And you're probably going to hate that I say this. You tend to be a fixer. You tend to date women that.
I mean, everyone has issues, you know. Like I don't think there's no getting away from that.
But you found some gems. I will say that. Like your heart is too open. I think I mean, it's just.
Yeah, I'm not cold-blooded, bro. I'm not.
Yeah,
It's
you're not. You're not at all.
It's not in my.
You're not at all.
My system to do that to people.
You're not. Like, I remember there was a time where we had crossed teachers off the list because you had had some teacher issues.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Teddy says, "Yeah, I'm 30, and dating these days is hard. Haven't been in the game for 2 years, working on my career for now."
Yeah, and that's the tough part too. Is like the working for yourself. The productivity level goes way up mentally when you don't have to worry about extras, and that for the longest time was where I was at with it. I was just like, like we're doing something here. Like I'm already again working as much as we work, and that's fine. I'm totally fine with it. But it's just it's extras for sure. Like it's definitely an extra thing, and it's funny. It stops being extra when the right person comes around. And that's the thing.
Tom Basilius says, "I'm a non-Mormon and I've dated Mormons. A good Jack Mormon is fine."
Right. Right.
Yeah, that's such a name. That's an interesting term. Waiting on Gabe Judy Lally from BYU to join us here in a moment. If you are not LDS, you don't want an LDS girl. Yeah, I don't think you can date an LDS girl. I actually think family is a huge deal, I think, when you're talking about dating.
Yeah.
How important is the girl's family to you? Significant? Not significant?
Not that significant for me. I mean, it depends on the situation. Like it's not a huge factor for me. It's more of a thing where
not a huge factor.
Yeah, it's more of a thing where if it's like if the family is like a negative, if there are problems with the family, then it becomes a factor. But if it's like, hey, I've got a family, and it's like the holiday, go and see the family thing, that's not a big deal for me at all.
No. Somebody in the comments who was saying that. Black Dark says Cashman out as GM. Is Brian Cashman really out as GM of the Yankees? That would be very interesting to see if he's out.
Yeah.
We'll see if that indeed is the case. But Jake, I appreciate you sharing that you're going through, like this breakup thing.
I'm good, bro. I'm good.
I'm proud of you, man. That's like a big deal. All right, let's get BYU DB Gabe Judy Lally on the show. Always a pleasure to welcome. Let me screen that up. There. How's that, Gabe? Does that look better? Are we all like in shot now?
Yeah,
I know you're a big time podcast guy, and I see you at Coug Connect all the time, and so you get the game. So let me ask you this: what's your relationship status? Are you a dating guy? Are you a married guy? What's your setup?
I got a girlfriend, probably going on 2 years.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
See, Jake, the illustrious co-host of the show, who you can't see, there he is right
What's
there.
What's up,
man? Jake just broke up with his girlfriend last night, so we're all here trying to encourage him that in fact there is light at the end of the lonely tunnel. So welcome to the conversation, Gabe. That is your introduction to the show. We could actually talk football, which is what we will do. So let's talk about you. You I think have been a huge addition to this defense. How have you enjoyed this season? How have you enjoyed your time at BYU?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun so far, if I had to be honest with you. I've won more games than I've won pretty much in my whole career one season so far. I know that seems rough for everybody else, but I think that we're on the track to picking it up. Defense is easy, just got to do your job. So it's been a good time so far. We got a couple more games left, so I think that at the end of the day we'll figure it out and we'll be able to go a bowl game and have a good time.
It's interesting. We talk to Harris LaChance every week on this show, and one of the things he's always talked about is the fact that as players, he on offense anyways, he has said to us, hey, we've stuck together. We've really, we've been together as a group. And, yesterday, from what I understand, you guys had a team lift. Like, how has it been camaraderie-wise? Because this is, arguably, this is the toughest stretch that probably anybody at BYU has seen in recent times for football. So how has team been? How has community been? Like, how have you guys stayed together through this stretch of games?
Yeah, honestly, I think it's good. We just know at the end of the day we just haven't been playing our best. There's a lot different than, when I was at Vanderbilt. We had a tough stretch every single year, every single week as back-to-back ranked teams, top 5 teams. And we just kind of blistered and bad things happen over there. But here I think everybody understands that it's not like we don't trust each other. At the end of the day, it's that we just really haven't gone out there and played 4 quarters of football. We either show up in the first half or bring it on at the end. but we just need to be able to, play all 4 quarters, especially the middle 8, and help us win the football game.
And Gabe, I think one of the frustrating things for me is watching this team over the years. Like, I feel like this is one of the best secondaries I've seen in the modern era. Like, I feel like, obviously, you have an injury at safety with Malik, which has been a loss for you guys. But I feel like you have depth. I feel like you have quality. I think you've been, as I said, a big addition to the secondary as well. But are you guys happy with the way your secondary has played?
I mean, I wouldn't say we're upset by any means, but I definitely feel like we can always improve. We can always play better. I mean, right now it's just a little thing. We're always in position. It's just, can we get our head around and get to the football? And I mean, tackling at the end of the day is something that we always have to improve. And I think it's getting better. Additions like Talon and Micah back there, they really like to come down and tackle, which is good. We just got to improve our angles sometimes. And at the end of the day, playing DB is just a confidence thing. So if we can get the confidence up on all ends, at the end of the day, we'll be really good.
What does Chaz Ayu bring to your defense?
I really don't know Chaz that well as a football player. That was his first week back last week. I think that he's a good flash linebacker that comes out there and, he can cover because he used to play safety also, which is super nice. But I probably am just not the right person to ask because I just don't know that much.
Yeah, I'm excited to see him. I'm excited to see him back full time. I mean, I think he obviously is an athlete. You love just his athletic ability. I think injects a certain something into your secondary. But it's interesting. You talk about tackling. Is that something you can fix during the season? Because we've heard so much about, hey, you don't want to tackle in fall and you don't want to tackle in spring. Like, can you fix tackling? Can you become a better tackler during the football season?
That's a loaded question in my personal opinion, because I think that tackling is a will and a want to at the end of the day. I was taught how to tackle when I started playing football when I was 5 years old, and I think that you can always improve the angles that you take through drills and stuff like that. That doesn't particularly mean you have to hit anybody, because at the end of the day, if you don't want to hit anybody in practice, you're not going to want to hit them in the game. And even if we go through the drills, it doesn't really matter. I think that once you're in the right spot, we can practice as much things as we want, run defending, you pass defending, and then going to make the tackle at the end of the day. But if you're in the position and you want to make the tackle, you just want to make it. So, yeah, we can work on it all day, but at the end of the day, it's a personal preference type thing.
Yeah, and I think that's interesting. That's a really good perspective because I think it's not everybody that wants to stick their face into somebody else's hip, it's not, I don't think everybody's a great tackler, but talk about angles a little bit because I think that's one of the things that absolutely separates the good from the great is that angle. Is that something you guys work on a lot or are angles something that you guys have regularly installed in your practices?
Yeah, we have tackling circuit drills. Or tackling fundamental drills, right? And coming to balance, strike foot, stuff like that. Especially in the last couple of weeks, to definitely honed in on it. But throughout the whole season, just being able to, when you're running backside, making sure you're taking the proper angle to stop, the touchdown saving tackle and stuff like that. I hear you. Yeah, at the end of the day, I think that the angles are there majority of the parts. Just sometimes are we realizing it too late? Because we're taking the right angle, but if you're taking the right angle 2 seconds late, you're not going to get to the right spot.
Man, look at you spitting fire, dude. Like those are all like that's a really good point. Like it is both mental and physical. Awesome stuff right there. The other question I would ask you, obviously the elephant in the room is Kalani Sitake talking about taking over play calling and coordinating. And have you seen things change? Like has the process changed? Has your process as a DB in the program, has the defensive system changed at all?
Honestly, no. It's the same thing, just a different signal caller at the end of the day. I think that it helps out the defense because everybody's getting a little different type of coaching, a little bit more hands-on at the end of the day. And I guess you could say it's simplified to an aspect, but other than that, people just got to go out there and do their job. I've played ball somewhere else, and we had a way more complicated scheme, and guys did their job, but at the end of the day, we were undersized. Here, I think we're perfectly matched up, and the scheme being simple means that we can run around with our heads cut off and go make plays. So
yeah,
I think it's the same.
I think that's interesting, though. That's another common thread at BYU is player accountability. Do you feel like you guys as players, do you feel like you have done your job well enough as a group? Do you feel like you've done your job well enough to win football games?
No, I don't think so. I said it at the beginning. We haven't played our best ball yet. Like, we've shown glimpses in the Baylor game and such like that where we can do our job and come out there and play, or even we showed it 2 quarters here, 2 quarters there. At the end of the day, you can't blame any of the coaches because they could put us in the right scheme. They could put us in the exact right play, blitzing into a run. But if we decide not to tackle, then it's going to look bad on them, but it's really our faults. And they're always going to take the blame for us, and that's why we have to appreciate them to the max. But then, we have to be able to step up and say, it's our fault that the reason why we're not playing well. And I think that's what it really is. And I don't say, that we're not playing well. We just haven't played the right style of defense yet that we know that we can, because we go to practice and we play really well. It's just we need to turn that same thing into the game.
Yeah, I think that makes perfect sense. And I think one of the things I'll ask you, the last question I'll ask you before we get to ECU is, when you look at third downs, it has been a mighty struggle. I mean, the numbers are, ridiculous on third down. It's almost hard to believe. Do you feel like you guys have identified something or a trend of things? Like, what has been the issue on third down for the defense?
Missed tackles. They'll throw the ball at 7 and get the 3rd and 12, right? It's because we missed a couple tackles. Or, when we sit in zone, they just find the spot, and sometimes we just need to be able to drop into the right spot and take it away. That's pretty much it, in my personal opinion. So we just got to go out there and do our job. It seems repetitive, it seems redundant, but if you go out there and do your job, you win football games. And right now we're not doing it. We're trying to do somebody else's job. But if everybody comes down to their 111th, and that's why you have a football team. That's why you have 11 players on the field. So if everybody does their 111, that's why the defense is schemed for that certain thing.
It doesn't seem redundant at all. You know what, Gabe? It doesn't seem redundant at all, because I think one of the things that so many people don't recognize is football is a winning football is a job well done by 22 guys. And on defense, it's a job well done that filters from your front 7, to your secondary, your linebacker. I absolutely agree with you. I think it is the best football teams have 22 guys at a time that do their job really well. That's how you win games. When you look at East Carolina, what does their offense look like to you guys? How do they look on film?
I mean, they're a form of the air raid. They run the ball effectively, actually, but they're going to throw it 40 times in the game. Their quarterback's got a 70% completion rate, but he's throwing the ball underneath within 10 yards and behind the line of scrimmage, which is hard, but that means that we're going to come down and we're going to have to show that we can tackle this week, because if those plays within 10 yards get tackled down there, we can live to fight another day and get them off the field. At the end of the day, defense is bending but not breaking, so they could drive it all the way down the field and get 3. Cool, but if we score a touchdown, that's a 4-point difference each time. I think that they have good skill players. They're more of a big body team. Honestly, I believe that their offense is better than Liberty's, but I think that they do it in a different way. So I got a friend that plays there. I've known him since high school. Plays tight end / flex receiver there. I mean, they said last week they wanted to beat UCF and show them that they should be a Power 5 team, and they went in and they handed UCF a good loss. And we don't want to be on the other end of that stick this week, so we definitely want to go out there and play our best ball. And I think we're back to playing at night, so hopefully it can be a good game, and we can enjoy Halloween weekend.
Do you like playing on Fridays? Like how you guys have, obviously you've played a Thursday night game. Now you're playing a Friday night game. Like, is that a real thing, day-night football? And does it matter to you what day of the week it's played?
No, it doesn't matter to me. I heard here that day-night football kind of doesn't matter. I heard we play way better at night. But I've actually never played at any time other than Saturday except for this year. In the SEC, you only play on Saturday. And we didn't get many opportunities to play at night because we weren't that great. So To me, I turn it on whatever. I personally do believe that there's some sort of switch when it comes to football. So whenever the mode comes on, then that's good for me. But if my team plays well at night, then let's schedule them all at night. That's all that matters.
All right, a couple other non sequitur questions, if you will. Cody Epps, what is he like? I mean, we've been talking about him on this show for months. That we're super fired up to see him get going. And what kind of dude is Cody Epps?
Yeah, no, Cody's a great guy. He's funny, but he also is super serious on the football field and gets his job done. He's like Mr. Reliable. We could throw him the ball anywhere across the field, he's going to catch it. And that's something that's he's done since high school, from what my understanding is his situation. So that's super awesome. When I first came on my visit, he was one of the guys that I met. And, I mean, he's younger than me, but, like, he acts as mature as everybody else, but he also brings the jokes around. So it's cool to see. I don't get to go against him much because he's an inside receiver, but at the end of the day, I think that he creates a mismatch for the other team. And it's good because we got a lot of guys, and so we don't want them to be able to double team guys all across the field. We want there to be mismatch at every single position, and Cody creates that for us. So it gives guys like Puka a chance to catch the ball, Kibo a chance to catch the ball, Isaac Rex, and then hopefully we can open up the run game this week too and, get it all going on all cylinders.
All right, you're opening up your music app on your phone. First of all, are you an Android guy or an iPhone guy?
I'm an iPhone guy.
My guy, let's go. That's what I'd like to hear. Okay, so you open your Apple Music. What are you listening to?
On game day, you want to say, or do you want to say on
just in general, any day you want?
I'm a big J. Cole fan. I listen to a lot of J. Cole.
So are you a hip hop R&B guy? Are you a rap guy?
Yeah, probably hip hop R&B. I'm not really like big into like hardcore rap, I would say.
Yeah.
More or less, I like the lyrics and the melody. But I mean, sometimes alternative if it's like going to hang out and whatever the case is. But probably pretty much R&B and rap.
One of the crazy things going on in the world right now is this Kanye deal. Have you ever been I was a huge Kanye music fan. I think his music is amazing. And we were just talking about before you came on, watching the meltdown of Kanye is like tragic. It's terrible. Like, are you a Kanye guy at all? Like, what's your opinion on Kanye?
Yeah, I'm Kanye before his mom died, for sure. I think his music is some of the best music that's come out in the industry before his mom died. And sometimes it makes me feel bad to see what's going on because if you watch the documentary, you can attest some of the stuff to that happening. And, him and his mom were super tight. And, I mean, I wouldn't wish that upon my worst enemy to see, your mom pass away. So sometimes I give him some sympathy to the situation, but some of the things he says are a little outlandish. And I think that he can, tone it down a bit. But it's kind of like AB and him are doing their thing right now, which is not good for the world. But
yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah, you ain't kidding. And finally, of course, we're going to ask you about food. Have you found a go-to spot in Provo? Are you on the chicken sandwich bandwagon? Are you a Chipotle guy? Like, what's your go-to?
Oh, okay, that's hard. Provo's got everything that you'd like, more or less, like fast food-wise.
Mm-hmm.
I came from Nashville, where that might be one of the best places for food, like across the country. And Austin, Texas isn't shabby itself also. So I'd say
have you made the pilgrimage to Bam Bam's yet?
No, I actually haven't made the pilgrimage over there yet. But also, is that barbecue, right?
Oh my God, Gabe. Dude, go change your soul. The minute you intake the nice moist pork at Bam Bam's, your soul, I don't know how like the science term is, your soul transforms. That's all I can say. It's the ranch dressing at Super Chicks. If you haven't been to a Super Chicks yet, go to Super Chicks, get the chicken sandwich, get the ranch dressing, and you've got to go a Friday night after the game, I'm telling you, go to Bam Bam's, change your soul, man. The barbecue at Bam Bam's is amazing.
I appreciate it. And I love when people from Utah love to tell me that the barbecue in Utah is going to change my soul when they need to come to Texas and get their soul changed with the real barbecue. And in Nashville, it's not too bad itself, too. And we're known for Nashville hot chicken over there, too. So, like, it's hard for me to compare, like, certain things, like, especially barbecue standards-wise, because a lot of people, like the guys at Cougar Connect, they're like, "Oh, we're going to Austin. Where should we go?" And I'm like, "Go to Franklin's or go to Terry Black's." And like, this has changed my soul. And I'm like, so you can't tell me a soul-changing experience will happen to me. No.
My guy, Gabe Giuliani, really nice to meet you, man. Stay healthy. Have a great game tomorrow night. I appreciate you hopping on the show.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys for having me.
All right, see you. There you go. Gabe Giuliani on the show, and I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Tackling, how long have we been talking about it?
Weeks.
I mean, it is as simple as it gets that tackling has plagued them. And what did he say? We'll be in 3rd and 7. We'll miss a tackle, and they'll get 12 on 3rd and 7.
Yeah.
That is just absolutely the story of BYU's defense this year, and I don't know how you fix that. I really don't know how you fix that. He just is. He's exactly right. Gabe Giuliani brought to you by Papa Murphy's Pizza. Make sure that you use the promo code Monty25, MONTY25, Monty25 to get 25% off your purchase of $25 or more at Papa Murphy's Pizza. Let's get a couple of your comments in here. Let's see. Boyd Lake says Austin has great food. It does have great food. Austin has great food. No doubt about that. Deuce says offense could be more consistent, but I love how we play great team defense. Talking about the Jazz, certainly. The Macho Man Randy Savage. Oh, yeah. I can do that better.
Oh, yeah.
Green chili on pizza, nothing better. Ooh, green chili on pizza. I hadn't thought about that. Although that's a Mrs. Monty thing.
Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing.
Oh, it is a thing, I'm sure. San Diego State Aztec says that was an informative, entertaining, and fun interview. He's great. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
He is great. Jeremy Bolton says he's 100% correct. Those 4 missed tackles on the QB there late in the second quarter totally changed the game. I mean, yeah, absolutely. The missed the Arkansas game is, I mean, the Notre Dame game.
Yeah.
All 3 of these, like, I'm not going to say Oregon. I think Oregon was just a better football team. But I don't think there's any doubt that Notre Dame and Arkansas, you lost those games because you didn't tackle.
Yeah.
I mean, and I would, well, Liberty was just a meltdown. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Boyd Lake says, blacks in Lockhart, Texas, best in the world. Have not been, but I probably need to go. Teddy Wayman says, great show, guys. Appreciate that, Teddy.
Mm-hmm.
Mrs. Monty, thank you for coming back on the show and gracing us with your awesome presence and stuff on the program. I missed you guys. Whoa, wait. Sorry, I didn't turn you.
Okay, bye. Okay.
What did you say? You missed us?
I said I missed you guys.
I missed you. Are we hot tubbing and pizzaing tonight for Utah and Washington State? And there is some Thursday night football as well.
I thought you made a date night dinner reservation.
Oh, that's right. We're doing Tsunami Sushi is tonight.
Because I've got such a casual.
And you know whose fault this is?
You're
Jake Brandon.
Casual,
Jake Brandon
bro.
at Coug Connect. That stupid executive role at Tsunami Sushi. Jake Brandon took me to lunch at Tsunami Sushi one day.
Yep.
And got us an executive role, and it changed my life. I love that. I love that executive role.
There you go.
I mean, if you don't want to have a date with me, we can just have pizza. But I think we could have sushi and then sit in the hot tub.
Yeah,
what?
Well, but I'm not looking. A plus B equals,
Get her sauced up on sake.
Yeah. Exactly right. Jake, how you doing over there?
Yes.
Exactly right. Tsunami Sushi tonight is, I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. Mark Hale says, I love sushi. Salty Drunk says, Jake needs some. Yes, he's desperate now. He says, Mark Hale says, get a roll and then soak. Yeah, good times. Okay.
Yeah, good job.
That's right, T.
Attaboy.
Jeremy Bolton says A plus B equals soaking.
Attaboy.
Oh, my God. Are you
Wow.
kidding me?
Wow.
Are you kidding me?
Wow.
Yeah, there you go. Play the music. We got to roll. Mrs. Monty, always a pleasure. Appreciate you. Appreciate all of you. I know 8 o'clock hour was a little interesting today.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we were trying to soothe Jake's broken heart that's not really broken, but that's fine. Appreciate all of our sponsors on the show. As always, make sure you support our guys at The Advocates, UtahAdvocates.com. Make sure you give a big shout out to our guys at Tri-Day Trading. All you need to do is go watch a free webinar, tridaytrading.com/Monty. And if you are in the business of getting that pizza hookup tonight, do it at Papa Murphy's. Use the promo code Monty25. Until tomorrow, say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.